We're also giving a couple tried and true ARs some balance adjustments, with the AUG, M416, M16, and the Mutant all receiving a few changes. Check out the patch notes for full details on these. Also, with the introduction of the FAMAS, the AUG will now spawn among normal Battlegrounds loot. Destin is also getting a few changes, with the addition of several hills between Barcliff and Tarita to aid players making the long and perilous trek. There's also a new dirt track south of San Carlo to break up sightlines a bit and add some more interesting flavor to that area. And since the PUBG 6th anniversary is fast approaching, we're also putting up some festive decorations around Erangel, Miramar, and Sanak. We've also updated the Hall of Fame on Erangel with special items to commemorate the PGC 2022 winners, so check it out on your next drop. That's it for this quick update. But as always, you can find all the details on these changes and more in the official patch notes. Update 22.2 is here, so find yourself a new FAMAS and get ready to celebrate the glorious 6th anniversary of PUBG. We'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
The latest game from Krafton and 5min Lab. Fast pace and full intense PvP action brawler game. Use your best combo to send your opponent to the lobby. Select your legends and be the winner. Pick the mode that suits your fighting style, from 1v1, 2v2 to Battle Royale. Available to download and play free on Play Store, App Store and Steam. Let's be legends today!
What is up, you battle-hardened survivors? This is the PUBG Challenger Rumble. It is day number 2 of even more PUBG actions. We are the commentators for the entire lovely Sunday. My name is Husky, alongside Victor. 5 more maps to see how these teams are going to perform today.
Exactly. Yesterday, we already saw these 16 teams battle it out over the course of 5 rounds, and now we already kind of have a good idea about where these teams stand. Though today is going to be a different day, of course, but some things do remain the same, though, and that is, of course, going to be our point system here. The same system that we ran from yesterday itself. Chicken dinners will basically give you 3 extra placement points compared to second place, whereas it's all going to be a 1-point split all the way down to 8, and getting a single kill also gets you individual points. And we saw how important that is when it comes to actually getting onto the top of the leaderboard, because the vast majority of those teams in the top 4, they're really going for those kill points, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen very, very prime examples. I think one of the best examples that we got was gas cans, right? The Oceania team coming into the entirety of day one without a single chicken dinner, but they were still able to maintain at the very top at the end of yesterday, just because they averaged, I believe, 12 points per round, with almost close to a minimum of 6 to 8 eliminations per game. So that is very, very important. But of course, this is what the teams are fighting for as well. It's not just to become the champions of the Challenger Rumble, but also to get that one slot into the PUBG Global Series phase number 1. Second place teams will walk away with at least $1,700 and third place gets 1.3k. But the end of the day is about being the strongest team in the Challenger Rumble and securing that very, very valuable slot.
Yeah, it's so valuable indeed, that one slot to the PS, because essentially it means that over the course of this Challenge Rumble, if you are tenacious enough, if you're able to win a lot of these matches, you are guaranteed a place, amongst the very best in the world when it comes to PUBG PC. So this is going to be the schedule we're running today. Today, of course, being day number 2, 12th of March, which means that we're going to be running 3 rounds on Erangel and then 2 rounds on Miramar.
Yeah, this is very, very. I think it's kind of like this breath of fresh air. Even though for the Challenger Rumble we get to only see 2 maps, most importantly is how we also got to witness teams being more comfortable on certain maps. And for those who were not able to catch up yesterday, these are 16 participating teams that we have in the Challenger Rumble. We have 4 Piggies with Archangel Predator, with Action PH, with 4 Samurais, Aurora, Charm Farmers, Chicha Gaming, 10x.
Yep, and then on the bottom side, we got Panic Esports, Exo Clan, Gas Cans, From the Future, One Call, Pintados Esports, Starlight, as well as Trident Esports. 4 different regions coming together here. We got a lot of teams coming from Oceania / Australia, got teams coming from Indonesia and the Philippines, and these guys are all, like, especially seeing the rounds we had yesterday, very impressive players when it comes to PUBG, because there's a mix of, like, long-time players of PUBG itself, as well as some newer teams, but all of them have certainly showed that they are very capable when it comes down to it.
And this is what they are fighting for as well. Aside from the direct slot to PGS Phase 1, aside for the prize pool, they're also fighting for the PUBG Global Championship 2023 points. The team that finishes first, the eventual winners, gets 740 points, all the way down to 40 points if the team finishes last. So there's a big discrepancy right there. These kind of circuit points are very crucial for the rest of the year. This is how the teams prove that they deserve to be amongst the best of the best. Right now, we have a small inkling of what some of those teams might be, and hopefully that changes a bit today, because yesterday, we can kind of shrug it off as maybe it's kind of like the day one phenomenon that some teams are just not able to kind of warm up the gears fast enough. But it's day 2, and I'm expecting to see so much more.
Yeah, I mean, let's talking about teams that, were able to hit the ground running. Certainly the one that has been running away with it has been Gas Cans, quite literally putting the pedal to the metal ever since round number 1. They haven't even dropped below 7th place overall over the last 5 rounds we did yesterday, and that has contributed to why they've been able to have such a significant lead over the nearest team, which is Archangel Predators. So that's 60 points to 45. And when you look at teams like Archangel Predators as well as On Call, who is currently 2nd and 3rd respectively, like, these 2 teams aren't as consistent compared to Gas Cans, but whenever they win, they usually win very, very big, and that's allowed them to be part of the top 4. But then today, I really want to see how these teams perform when it comes to or rather how consistent they are when it comes to different maps, because when I look back at the results, I do notice that there are some teams, like for example 10x, they weren't able to perform as well on Erangel, though to be fair, they were still able to get into the top 10 on those first 2 rounds. But when it came to Miramar, these guys were basically 3rd place, 4th place, 2nd place in rounds 3, 4, and 5. So they were extremely good at Miramar, and that's what allowed them to get up into 6th place. So given that today we're going to be a lot more focused on Erangel itself, I want to see the teams that are really good at playing the map of Erangel there start to actually gain some points here and hopefully close the gap between themselves and the front runners right now in this Challenge Rumble.
And no, on top of that, right, if we kind of look on the other side of the aisle, we have Panic Esports, a team that performed remarkably on Erangel. But when we went to Miramar, I believe, 2 out of the 3 maps, they get almost 1 and 0 points. Just could not able to make a stand. Thankfully, because of the Erangel performance in the first 2 maps that they had, they were able to at least secure their 5th spot by the end of day number 1. 42, tied with From the Future. But honestly, it's definitely not looking good for them when we look at tiebreaker rules, because FTF just has 8 more eliminations more compared to PNC. So that's something that I think they need to keep note of. But today could be that lucky day. Today could be the better day for them, because you have 3 maps on a map that they clearly are more proficient on, and perhaps they will use these 3 maps to really give them a jump start and make up for any mishaps that might happen on the last 2 rounds of Miramar.
Yeah, I want to see whether or not Panic will be able to, because as far as I look from their results itself, I get the sense that Panic is one of those teams that are very good at like the start of any sort of like the start of the day, but then tends to drop off towards the end, and you can kind of see that in the way their Miramar results kind of like played out. They managed to get the chicken dinner actually during the first Miramar map, but subsequently were basically hovering around like just barely getting to the top 10 by round number 5. So sometimes like teams can be like really good at the start of the day, but then sort of fizzle out or start to get a bit inconsistent as the day progresses. And hopefully this is not going to be something that Panic will have to deal with, but it's something certainly they have to be wary about, because that inconsistency is going to make it very hard for them to compete against the very top.
We'll see if the map is also consistent with how it decides to give us safe zones, because for yesterday it has been very consistent in giving us rogue circles, very brutal ones towards the side of the map that forces all these early movements. And I think it really can throw less experienced teams for a ride, because your entire the basis is we have a decent first 10 minutes to kind of get that get our resources stocked up, and then we worry about rotations later on. But if you get corner circles, it makes it incredibly difficult, because teams would be gunning to get into a safe haven. Yesterday was kind of the indicator of that. Very good flight path. It splits right down the middle, so we get a more even distributions of where these teams are dropping. Just minor overlaps between APH and CG, but aside from that, I think we're probably going to get a slower start to match number 1.
It's interesting that gas cans yet again are taking like the northern spot. Yep, that circle's going down to southwards, and well, 4 samurais have maybe like had a bit of premonition there, because they're the only ones who dropped onto Soft Knuckle Island, and it was quite funny to see as well. Like teams like 4 Piggies and Starlight were actually setting themselves up at the bridge, because I think they were thinking about trying to gatekeep them, but they realized, oh no, now we're the ones being gatekept by 4 samurai.
Oh yeah, I mean this is more brutal than the first Erangel circle we had yesterday. That one, at least you cover a bit of that mainland, but for this one, is all the way to the south, and there's very little chance that you go back onto mainland. I think that is going to be the key difference. Early knockdown onto Super Luik, but thankfully no eliminations just yet. They had to expand kind of those early utilities that they got to bring him back up, so that would be a minor setback in terms of getting their resources, I believe, for Chicha Gaming. But aside from that, all is well. That is kind of what we expected, right? APH and CG, they were a bit close to one another. You can see the Starlight instantly making that rotation southwards. They do not want to waste any time.
Yeah, I mean, might as well get into there as quickly as they can before 4 Samurai basically loots the entire island and takes everything for themselves, right? But 4 Piggies are still sticking to their side of the map right now, just focusing on farming those little villages. I mean, again, the teams are still fairly spread out, other than that little encounter that Super Luik had. Doesn't seem that any other teams are currently locked in battle at the moment. So, I mean, again, as we've seen from yesterday itself, we always expect like phase 1 to always be kind of like quite quiet. I mean, it just makes me think about, my experiences normally whenever I play PUBG, because I always find those like the first 5 minutes of gameplay is like kind of like the chillest part of everything, right? It's like the point where you're just going through the motions, you're just going through your paths where you're farming, you're observing, but you're not really like going on engagements, you're not really having that tension quite yet. It's kind of like that calm before the storm, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. I think one of the most stressful things is just kind of the tension, right? The suspense that you are kind of waiting for something to happen, or you are trying to make something happen. All these, the silence is deafening when it comes down to Battle Royale. It is something that it took me a very, very long time to get used to. I think when I first started delving into this genre, when PUBG first came out years ago, I remember I jumped on the hype train and I was really into it. But the one thing that I really get punished for every time is just you feel the urge to do something, because I come from other game genres where I'm constantly in action, but in Battle Royale you kind of need that patience, something that I lack, and it really gets to you every once in a while. On call though, they're carrying a lot of these engines. APH is basically setting up shop around this perimeter.
Yeah, in fact, like I think Action PH has actually cut off like the route a little bit for on call. Senti will try to get a shot. Ooh, gets a nice knockdown. Can he finish him off quickly though? Unfortunately, Pusher Red is able to hide away in time. Now Action PH is rapidly scrambling now, getting into the vehicles and trying to see if they can get a jump onto on call right now, or perhaps maybe even peel away. But with Pusher Red already down, Nando is now trying to pull all the way back towards the bridge here, and Rems is going in hard chase here to try to keep him contained. Right now, it's all about getting information. Right now, it's just trying to figure out where exactly the point of attack is coming in from Action PH. The thing is, they're also quite spread around the map, and making things even harder now is that Archangel Predators is moving in as well to join in the party.
Yeah, Trick has to really hold the fort, and he actually made contact with Senti, of all people. Finally spots out Renzo. If he can take Renzo out, this is going to be a big boon for Trick. And now he's finally getting a bit of support. Flashbangs out as well. Rems forced down to the low ground. Trick coming through. Another flash. Rems not ready for this one, but actually returns fire. Not enough though to down Trick. They get a trade back, almost got a trade back, and one call ends up being able to stifle this assault from the side of APH.
Yeah, but the problem is like whoever wins this battle between one call as well as APH are going to have to face off against Archangel Predator as well. And Archangel Predator is already like setting themselves up in a way that like they're just prepared to storm once one of these teams get eliminated or like that gets decimated. So this is turning into a very tense situation right now for both ONC as well as APH. They know that they need to finish off this fight, but they're very much spread out. They're very bogged down in this situation here. There's not a lot of cover between the members right now, so I think it's kind of every man for himself. They're just gonna have to deal with their own individual sectors right now and hopefully be able to put down some kills.
The nade tagging onto Jo, that's gonna force him out into the open. Alec, great follow-up with that MK12. And that's gonna put Jo in a tough spot. Just having the right weaponry from Alec, right? Also having the barrel M762 in his hands, Jo going down means that AAP not only were able to kind of chip in and be that third party, but it also puts one call in a very, very tough spot. Jaxi also getting pinned down by 9 on the other end. Whereas if you are, APH, I think you can definitely afford to leave this area and rotate elsewhere. EXO also kind of dropping by on that hillside nearby. This could pose a problem for Archangel Predator if they're not aware.
They may be able to catch a few stragglers. The thing is, there's only a duo, so I think they're just more like scouting right now to try to see what the situation is and where all those gunshots are coming from. But AAP are very much rapidly moving right now, going straight at Jaxi. Oh, the grenade catches the engine bots though, forcing him to fall back to Evil Patrick. Another grenade is going to come out, almost catching out, and like actually catches Alec as well. Evil Patrick now just completely stuck in the shit, just outside. That at the moment is a little bit tied up because he's receiving fire from the mountainside, so he's not able to support his teammates right now. Evil Patrick now goes for the revive. Jaxi a little bit slow to respond to that, tries to put a flashbang in front in order to try to disrupt and just keep them guessing, but so far no one is taking the bait.
Oh my god, he actually stuck the revive. This is good news for AAP. I mean, Alec might have costed his team this match. He has to kind of pull his weight right now. He ran over Aljin Boss with their own car, and now they're gonna come in, swing for Jaxi, finds the kill. AAP almost going down to their own actions, but averting disaster just for a little bit. One call now taking the brunt of it. Axel finally decides to jump in. Aljin Boss takes the hit from behind, and AAP just not catching a break. Very, very unfortunate turn of events. Alec drives in, runs down his own teammate, sticks the revive, but so much time was expended that now EXO can also show up, and AAP, because of that one action, becomes the first team to get wiped out.
I mean, EXO Clan now is like regrouped here, and they're certainly making things really hard. And the ONC decides that they're going to cut their losses and pull back to the bridge now, which would sort of allow them to play gatekeeper. The problem is there's only 2 members around here that's still active. They do pick up a boat though, so maybe we'll be able to relocate to another part of the island that way. So hopefully we'll be able to peel away. But now this battle has shifted from APH versus ONC now to EXO versus Archangel Predators. And right now Archangel Predators not looking too good at the moment because I think they just got themselves decimated.
Yeah, again, right? It started with Alec, unfortunately, running down Alchin bots, and they had to spend a lot of time getting a revive. They even got naded by ONC. Just a chain of events that led to the elimination. There's going to be a lot of time for them to talk about it for the rest of the round, now that they're out in the lobby. But the circle, definitely not kind. CG, maybe thinking to go for swim. They're at the harbor town right now. They're getting completely suppressed by APH. So only one team will make it out at that point. PNC just arrived at the checkpoint at the bridge. That's going to be gate kept by gas cans as well. And now with the circle closing it into phase 2, we are definitely getting this island finish.
So 4 Samurais already taken control over this hilltop here. That's going to give them like a bit of a high ground advantage. The problem is they're surrounded on all sides by squads who have just finally made their way to the island now. Speaking of making their way to the island, Trick maybe trying to set up a bit of an ambush here. Goes for the spray on the EXP, gets one knockdown, tries to get for the second one, does get the second knockdown now.
Oh, nice.
So stopped in their tracks here, trying to figure out what they can try to do in return. Well, Nando, he spots Kang, doesn't quite reveal his position yet. Going to try to play backdoor here while EXO Clan now tries to maneuver onto Trick. They're getting shots done onto him now, but then where is Nando? Nando needs to come and help him out here, at least try to confirm those kills, but EXO seems like to be able to regain control over the situation right now on the bridge, as Nando only now just reaches them at the edge of the blue zone, tries to get a kill onto EMT, but doesn't quite finish him off there. Trick will be able to get the kill anyway, but Kang will swiftly put an end to that run now, and then finally Goosecack finds Nando, tries to slam him down right now, but Nando's not making it easy for him, dodging through the trees and making himself a very tiny silhouette, making it so hard for Goose to actually land a hit.
Basically, spoilers at this point. You know, EXO having to turn back, get rid of Trick, expend a lot of resources to heal back the teammate. They still end up losing 1 in the process, and to make matters worse, now they have someone else on their tail, and that is Pintados. EXO just getting back on their vehicle, driving inlands. Goose might be staying behind just in case it's going to be another ambush. Nandu J at least securing 1 kill out of the 2 initial knockdowns that Trick got for him. Pintados being really patient. Oh, they see this happening. EXO completely out in the open. Pintados couldn't find a shot just yet, but it does give them confirmation that EXO has now completely left that bridge. And Pintados now, if they want to move in through, with their cars, they can definitely do so.
Yeah, and the thing is that Pintados had a lot of bandages and health kits that allowed them to stay on that in the blue zone for quite a while. And again, first phase blue zone is not that bad. Screenshot Game is rolling in style, but they're going to get ambushed very quickly by Charm Farmers who are already set up in the port. And he's trying to send a grenade down. Didn't quite land on anyone though, but Super Luik is keeping an eye out from the port side. Unfortunately, they already have one of the players knocked down here. Invis sending a grenade. Does kind of miss the boat right there. Oh, but that next one lands very close where Krypton is and almost lands a double knockdown onto Chichat Gaming.
Charm Farmer slowly boarding the ship. This looks like a movie scene right now. As they are sieging this mode of transportation. Chichat Gaming trying to hold on. Krypton able to heal back up. They get the molly though into the container. Not able to completely flush Chichat Gaming out. Smoke grenades being tossed out just to block out vision. He's looking for a way to get onto dry land, but I think the plan is just to hold up for as long as possible before the ship sails again. So Chichat Gaming a burning disaster, and unfortunately for Charm Farmers, couldn't get much done. Good news for Chicha Gaming, they were able to at least get a car onto that ship, so they should have a mode of transportation. But this is going to take quite a while before we see Chicha Gaming again. Chang Farmers making a lot of noise that might attract Trident Esports, who are close to them towards that western side of the map. Whereas for Chicha Gaming, well, they survive for a longer time.
Yeah, I think all that commotion just now has certainly brought the attention of Trident, so that's why they're maneuvering up, which means the Trans Farmers now are going to be facing a siege here. In fact, the Trident's already maneuvered very quickly into the warehouse here where Trans Farmers set up. They're already getting one knockdown, Snow getting the kill first, now trying to finish it off with the grenade. But then he still has his teammate down at the moment, so they're a bit locked up inside this warehouse, which is making a good move now for Big Boy Maka to try to move in aggressively to get over Infist. They get the knockdown to Snow, finish off him and Jam as a quick double kill there on the Trident.
Yeah, Snow threw out 2 nades, but unfortunately they were not enough to finish out Ryu. Just the shrapnels didn't do enough damage. So in the end, Trident ends up losing, I believe, 3 members? Miller, the last man alive, and unfortunately for Trident Esports, it just completely fell apart. Didn't have enough numbers, couldn't get those finishes. Chang Farmers they were not able to get Chicha Gaming, but they surely got at least 3 points for themselves. And if you are Miller right now, no vehicles and not much place to work with, and to make things worse, you are in the circle. That's where Chang Farmers are heading towards. And you are going to be able to be needing to take this 1-4 fight. Wow, Chicha Gaming, they are in the water. They're going for a swim. And look at who's running out right now. It's APH. And they're going to have a field day sniping these fish in the barrel.
Not just them, but Starlight as well has been just shooting at Chica Gaming as they were trying to make this brave crossing across the water here. But APH not able to get any hits down quite yet. Chicha Gaming able to get to the shore quickly and just get behind cover, so it'll be a bit of a tense situation, to be honest here. But I love these boats just making things a lot more dynamic around the port here. I mean, man, it's just setting up all these unique encounters, isn't it? Looking across the hill though is Aurora, and they seem to be the ones who are also dragged here by the commotion between Chicha Gaming and Starlight at the moment. So are they trying to set up a possible ambush here? But also we're seeing gas cans move up close to where Aurora's position is. So this might become a really crowded battlefield right about now. For Samurai, like I was mentioned, they were taking on the high ground. Looks like they seem to have PNC pinned on the low ground there. So it looks like their bet has kind of paid off.
Yeah, so far so good. And I just want to say that Chicha Gaming were not able to touch down on port because of a CF early on, and it means that going for the swim, they abandoned their vehicle. They now have lost a very big means of transportation, and now everything else is going to be them on foot. They actually ran into Starlight in the process, and that is going to be something that they got to be careful about. In fact, Chicha Gaming finds Chang Farmers members on the way in, so a bit of a moment of karma that comes full circle. The most important part is still that they got to storm this compound. They're taking over this building as fast as possible. Solution PH, the only one on this top floor. All the windows not broken just yet. Here comes the nade. This is going to be a huge one. Doesn't really get straight though. Bounces towards the left room. But it's taking a bit too long for it to go up. And as you can, just 2 of them. Hachi, what? Coming in as a backup from afar. And now they stop Chicha Gaming. Solution PH has done just enough. The cavalry has arrived, baby. Starlight just need a bit more finishing touches onto Chicha Gaming. And all those flashbangs and frags are going to force them into a very rough spot. You love to see that. The flash on the left to filter them over to the right into a nade. Starlight have practiced this, and they are doing so well.
Starlight shining bright indeed, and Hachi with the arm of God there, landing trouble kills and putting the finishing touch onto Chicha Gaming. So a bit unfortunate there for ZG because it looked like they were having such a good time up until that point. So wow, well done there to Starlight for pulling off what an amazing fight there. Now let's see what the 4 piggies are up to. They seem to have caught up TD from FTF right now, who is stuck on the cliffside. His teammate is on the higher ground right now trying to put some fire, but Gobbs is already in the vehicle trying to maneuver to his flank here. So now TD goes up, tries to get the shot at the law ball, misses a little bit, now tries to send out a grenade or thing, but he catches the straight shot from the sideline right now because again, 4 piggies are taking onto the hillside where man is currently stationed, and unfortunately he's taking so much fire nowadays for it to pull back. I think TD is probably going to have to take one for the team right now because for the future doesn't seem to have this situation under control. Trident there, oh, getting a good shot in Rootvin. That would have been unfortunate there. He should be finished off now, and APH loses another member.
He tried to perform a drive-by, but didn't work out, unfortunately. Miller still stays alive for Trident. The best that he can. 4 Samurai continuing to be the first one to put the flag on the mountain. Gas Cans also one of the teams that is pinned down. Miller finally put to rest Solution PH. Gonna get that job done. Starlight continuing to press on forward, and they also found man just picking off stragglers. Starlight has effectively eliminated 3 teams consecutively. 5 eliminations so far, only losing 9 throughout this whole round. Starlight is doing way better than they did in the opening rounds of day 1.
Yeah, they're really stepping up to the plate now, aren't they? So, again, still surfing that blue zone here. They only just entered the safe zone. So, the thing is that they are on this hillside here, so that's giving them so much cover and just making it a lot easier for them to just continue racking up those points. Force Samurai is still at the radio tower right now, though it seems like Gas Cans and ABH have joined in on the siege here, but PNC were able to maneuver out of the... Well, no, they're still in the same position, actually, that they started off with earlier on in the previous circle. Gas Cans now regrouping in front. APH, I think there's only one member of APH as far as I can see on the map here, so he might be in the spot of trouble right now because he's caught between a rock and a hard place. 10X has already taken control of the complex just to the west of where Force Samurai is, so that could be potentially a good place of contention should the next circle land there. So now it's just a matter of luck at King's Point. Good shot though.
Well, completely catching Wakikamuka off. Just GN doing a fantastic job. APH and Tanix, especially APH NT, he is sharing the same building with Luke 12. Could be disaster waiting to happen for Gas Cans. And yeah, I mean, to climb this summit, it is incredibly tough. There's only one way up, and the best way is to have a vehicle. I don't think any team can afford that. Hachi just from behind, backstabs Wolva. It turns around, Hachi still staying alive. Smoke grenade comes right through Hachi. The flash goes through finally. Down by Gops, almost creating chaos. The agent himself not able to hold on until the end though. Down to Hayase, the last vestige of Starlight, just beelining towards his teammates. 2 members of 4 Pig is still up. Gops cleaning up the mess just for a bit. They get Loba back up. Baby Zio, now the last one that needs attention, but he will perish to the blue instead. 4 Pig is at least surviving with 3 members.
Oh man, I mean, that could have been a master stroke there, but very unfortunate for Starlight. Now 4 Piggies making their way into the center. Look at how crowded this circle is right now. But the thing is, the people with the best position here certainly is Force Samurai, because they can control the tower. Radio tower means it's going to be quite hard for them to actually keep things up. And Gobs gets knocked down, and Fleeway it's not close enough to try to rescue his friend there. So I think 4 Piggies now down to 1 single member here. A bit unfortunate now. PNC still stuck in their little foxhole, or rather, quite literally a crater for them. But and that just getting rained upon right now by YSA from Force Samurai.
They're starting to run out of smokes, and with members getting knocked down, you're losing armor. You're spending a lot of utility, and Force Samurai, they know that that's the only place that PNC can be in. You gotta really make those decisions. Set up the smoke to quickly make a run for it. I think PNC might have to go into damage control mode and start cutting costs. I'm gonna try and do it right now. You can see that the members are slowly moving, and Gas Cans, they're not attracting as much attention as PNC, so this could be an opportunity for Gas Cans. PNC just continuing to getting punished. Dusky will be left in the dust. There's 3 members of PNC remains alive. GN actually found Greg Shot GG as well. Force Samurai just keeping both sides of the mountain completely controlled. And this is just a hard climb for PNC. Pivy finally makes it onto the main path, but look at YSA. He has already descended just a bit to get the angle and was able to pick off Cherry on the way.
So the good news is that allowed for S to kind of control the last circle. The bad news is the next circle is going to be out of their area, so they're going to have to move down eventually. So they need to wrap things up here. Oh, YSA gets with a headshot, gets a headshot on the Cherry, and gets it on the suspect as well. Ay, panic. Oh no, they're getting decimated right now by Force Samurai, and that's just adding to their woes at this point.
Yeah, even if 4 Samurai don't get the chicken dinner after this round, they've done more than enough. These kills are very, very valuable. And Pivy, he's running upwards. YSA knows that he's going to be there. This is going to be the first checkpoint. Pivy, oh! Nasty, nasty shot. Straight through the skull of YSA. Pivy still keeping PNC alive. Slowly breaking through the formations of 4 Samurais. They've lost that one initial member. It's not going to matter too much as the circle continues to close in. And Pivy is starting to become a sore in the backside of 4 Samurai. YSA probably will be surrendered to the blue in the process. But I mean, Pivy doing massive work.
Oh, Luke 12, good shot there to take out Senti, so that I think it's Action PH taken out in 8th place now. In the blue zone closing in over the hill here, they're going to have to move out of the way. Now, Pivy is surfing very, very close to the cliff edge as well as the blue zone edge, watching every corner right now. Luke 12, unfortunately, gets caught out there in the blue zone, so he's going to be down for the count, and Gas Cans is out in 7th place. 4 Samurai now finally abandons this hill, though a couple of members are still sticking around there. It looks like they have done their job. They're going to be going to the next safe zone now, and join up to where the other battle is right now, because TNX receiving a lot of fire there from Pintados Esports at this point.
4 Samurais, 11 eliminations and still kicking. 4 Piggies also pretty much alive. Down to 5 teams and only 13 players left. Pintados somehow holding on. 4 Samurais barely avoiding that final shot from Namcel, but they know that the members of 4 Samurai pushed up. No, they do not. GN, he's already up on top of the hill. Fleeway sees this happening, but it's being really patient. No, GN! Facial awareness just turns around 180 for another wipeout. 13 kills, Victor.
Wow, that's a lot of kills right now. I mean, this is literally 4 Samurai's round to lose at this point, I think, because like they still have a 3-man stack. Now, TNX, granted, still has 1 extra member, but a little bit more spread out, and they seem to be playing a lot more safer compared to 4 Samurai right now. But with already 13 kills in hand, I mean, they're certainly already very high up on the score line for this round here. Now, it's a question of how much more placement points can they get. So Exo Squad is still on the outside. TNX a little bit spread out, but you still have Horseshoe having control over 1 building. And where is the Pintados? Pintados is silent. Last member standing is all the way on top of the hill here, not daring to go down because it's a little bit too close for comfort there, especially onto 4 Samurai. There's still a vehicle for him to use though, and that's providing a little bit of cover, but conversely, nothing else in between. So either he's gonna have to make a break for the center of this next circle, or just hope that this next thing is gonna work. Squeakita though catches a stray here in the form of M0, and Horseshoe is also knocked down as well. So things are not looking too good for TNX's front, because Aspa is now caught up by Murayama of all people, and now they just go, even though they were kind of silent for now, when the action hits, it's hitting so hard onto TNX.
And for 4 Samurais, they don't really need to worry about too much. They're coming in from the side of the circle. There's really nothing much for them to be concerned about. There's not much teams there, and they're just doing this through process of elimination. And Speedy trying to just descend the hill. Well, a voice getting knocked, at least for now, but Goose has his eyes on that area. Unfortunately for him, he's also getting pressured by significant magnitude from afar, and it's going to be Fatty's doing the job. 4 Samurai still pushing in. Silent is going to be basically hiding behind him. So far, 4 Samurai hasn't found him just yet. This could be a boon for Silent.
Ooh, nice shot there, Kang. Actually got the knockdown to Speedy here. Silent now been spotted. GN is going to send a trouble down, but it looks like Silent is able to pull away just in time. Now moving up in the blue zone. GN didn't quite see him though, and unfortunately he's the one now going to get knocked down. So 4 Samurai now forced to react here to Pintados. This Silent here, and that's going to take a lot of the attention away. And Silent's actually making it so good. What the heck? He actually got the kill. He actually got the kill onto Moriyama, and 4 Samurai has been eliminated.
God save 4 Samurais. Silent. That's the ace. That is the 1 versus 4. So much patience. Pintados breathing a big sigh of relief. And now this is a very, very winnable round. As much as we say EXO, they have the man advantage. But there's 2 different angles for them to worry about. You have Silent on one side, Aspa on the other. And EXO don't necessarily have the best angle. And I would argue that Silent now has the high ground. Has the high ground for himself. This phase number 8 coming through. Obviously, the circle favoring Aspa a bit more. This will be a bit stressful though if you are Tanex, because Aspa is literally caught in this small ditch, this small crater that EXO can flush out with utilities. But for Silent, they have no idea where he is.
Yeah, I mean, Asba is just he has no information even. Like that's a big problem about his position right now is that he's not going to be able to peek out to get information. At least Silent may be able to, but he's choosing instead to stay quite literally silent right now. Silent, but perhaps quite deadly as well, given the counter with 4 Samurai. So EXO as well, probably a little bit wary at this point because they also have no information whatsoever outside of like general direction about where Asba or Silent is. So they're just waiting for this next circle to play out first before they have to move. And the thing is that I'm looking at where this circle is right now. The center is quite literally out in the open. So, man, it's just now this is like the tensest possible moment here in this round here. I mean, you have EXO still having a 3-man squad. Technically, you do have the man advantage, but they don't have the element of surprise, which is what both Silent and Asba has. And that could be the edge that allow these 2 solo players to maybe get an edge over this one squad.
Oh, Silent, he is so close. Because Squikita, a part of him, his spidey senses are tingling, but Silent is just not showing up on his sidelines. Squikita, the last man, we're just holding that angle. You can see the rest of EXO, they're coming in. They want to take the high ground. Silent, surely you hear this coming. He does have the element of surprise. He might be able to catch both Kang and Goose. Silent, not able to do so though. Kang reaches there first, and just too many crosshairs for Silent to worry about. And it's all down to Aspa, and they saw him. EXO with a chicken dinner and 9 kills to close out the first map. What a finisher, Victor. What a finisher do we have to start off the second game. Second day.
The second day, right? Yeah. I mean, man. I mean, that was such an impressive series of events that occurred there. I mean, wow. I mean, where do I even begin with this? Like, 4 Samurai just basically hitting the lottery on this round by taking control over the highest point on Supernova Island, and then quite literally using the cliffside to make it an area of death, really, for a lot of squads to try to wander in. I mean, we got teams like PNC, PNC, Gas Cans getting themselves cut down in that one area alone, and then of course 4 Samurai were unfortunately cut down by, of all things, like a 1v4 situation involving Silent from Pintados. So I mean, it's just kind of like, it feels like watching a sitcom where like a new challenger appears not just every next episode, but it just seems like every 5 minutes a new challenger appears that's even stronger than the previous one, right? That's crazy, this whole how this first match turned out.
A lot of these players have definitely woken up from their slumber, and I do like this opening, right? We see teams like Gas Cans and PNC in this game for the first time in a round, especially for Gas Cans. They were not able to get much eliminations, I believe, and just the presence that you sense from these 2 teams, not as much as you normally would expect, normally what you saw from day number 1. And it really gave way to a lot of these other teams to step out. I mean, EXO was a team that we looked at yesterday, and we were slightly concerned, right? Because they were struggling a lot. They were not able to really convert many of their actions into meaningful results. But here they are, just very systematically getting that final chicken dinner for themselves, with their numbers advantage. And if you are 4 Samurais, you are definitely going to have a bit of a discussion about what happened towards the tail end of match 1. If you're Archangel Predator, you're definitely going to have a discussion about who is going to drive the car in the future, because Alec definitely might not be the best driver in this scenario. All things aside, EXO Clan, just great opening. This is Oceania, again, getting the initial dub.
Yeah, and looking at 4 Samurai as well, I mean, I have a feeling that 4 Samurai is going to use these 3 rounds of Wrangle to really try to make a campaign now to get themselves into the top 8. And I think they have a really good chance of doing that, because they're not exactly the best when it comes to Miramar. They finish like in the bottom 14 for all 3 of those rounds. But then whereas when you look at their results in Wrangle, they've been quite consistently in that top 6. So I think like they've not only woken up, but they've just been handed quite literally a good scenario in this first match that allows them to capitalize so much off of. So I'm really stoked to see whether or not 4 Samurai will be able to use this as a launching pad to further their momentum up the leaderboard.
Yeah, there's so many great moments this match, right? Not just from individual plays, but how the teams have been able to really take advantage of the positions that they're in. We saw Starlight doing a massive flush onto Chicha Gaming. I think that was very, very well done strategically. Let's look at the at least match scoreboard. EXO, the monstrous round, 19 total points. 4 Samurais, again, they might not have finished, in a good spot, but the amount of eliminations that they got just from being able to take that high ground gave them 14 monstrous kills, 18 points for the first map. And then when you look down the leaderboard, PNC only got 4, Gas Cans only getting 3, the lowest that they've ever gotten, across all the rounds that they've played.
Yeah, but to be fair to Gascan, as long as they're doing a little bit better compared to their rivals in the later rounds, they could still maintain at least a healthy lead. And in fact, their lead right now is quite significant that, yeah, maybe a lot of teams will be quite relieved to see the Gascans is quite far down the board, because at least that may make things a little bit easier for them to catch up. I say that though, but teams like AAP and ONC did not really capitalize too much on this first match of the day, and thus they have not really closed the gap whatsoever to Gascans. The Gascans only has increased their points by 3, making it to 63 now. AAP and ONC is still tied up at 47 points each, and Panic, they still are stuck at 46. But let's see where 4 Samurais is. 4 Samurais now in 7th place here after the brilliant match number 1. So that puts them ahead now of Pintados Esports here. Starlight, even they're actually like the team that had the highest eliminations but 0 placement points in this round here. So kind of disappointing, I think, on their end. But nevertheless, they're still in the 9th rank though, so they still have a potential to try to compete against 4 Samurai and Pintados. They just need to get around where things kind of fall together in place properly for them, I think.
And I think it's also great to see that more and more teams are joining the conversation, kind of the race on the first page. You can argue that, yeah, sure, Starlight is still in 9th place, but they are only 4 points behind Pentado, so you can definitely count them in that lot. I think right now the teams from EXO and onwards, these are the teams that really need to step up a bit. EXO did a fantastic job in match number 1, and I think just a couple more rounds like that, where you get decent points, and you will be able to see EXO on the first page as well. I think the competition definitely spiced up after that first round. We still have 2 more maps of Erangel coming up. Map 2 is going to be the absolute same, but with how match 1 has gone, I think it's fair to say that as much as day 1 has shown us some teams being really good on the map, we're seeing more of those examples, and that means that the result is going to be even more unpredictable.
Yeah, it's not about how you start things off, it's about how you finish, right? And, Challenge Rumble is still at a long, long way. There's still a lot more rounds to be played over the course of the next few weeks. So, again, the Gascans at least has already get themselves a really strong lead right now. The question is, how long can they stay there as teams other teams start to wake up, start to get more points, and start to build more momentum on their leaderboard here. I mean, they could probably still, just from the fact that they're very much having a lot of eliminations already, they probably could just prioritize that a lot more and still maintain a healthy lead. But I think they're at certain points now, especially with Miramar, especially with the maps changing a little bit, I just want to see how they will start to adapt when things start not going their way.
Oh, absolutely. And I hate to use this term. I don't think it's something that I like to integrate into my mindset. But when it comes down to Battle Royale, there's always this factor of luck, right? How the circle forms and all. I think in match 1 there definitely is a lot of that when we look at teams like 4 Samurai. But also credits to them for finding that early spot that gave them so much advantage as the round progresses. But overall, we also saw some teams that when they are put in a tough spot, they kind of know how to maneuver around that. Especially you look at teams like Gascans and Panic. Even though they got wiped out pretty early on, they didn't get much points. But the way that they held on, it's not easy to do when you're put in such a tough position and you have to kind of anchor down. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Completely different flight path this time. We're going horizontal, west to east. This time more towards the northern end. We got a great first circle, honestly. We'll see if this one is going to be the same. Give us, in fact, I think all the Erangel maps that we had, including the ones from yesterday, has always been to the southern side. I want to see one that goes north. I want diversity. Give me some great circles.
Yeah, I mean, what probably would throw everyone for a loop, more likely would be those circles that end up a lot in the water. If you recall, like round 2 from yesterday, that one certainly just made it so crowded even before, like, I think phase 4. So we'll see how things will turn out. Still plenty of time yet before we'll be getting things boots on the ground. One call is just only about landed right now. So has APH as well as Chichak Gaming. Though it seems like Super Luik having to run away quite quickly though, because Rudebin already has the control over the rooftops here. But let's see where everyone else is headed to. Oh, I mean, wow, Husky, you certainly called it here, because that circle going up north and half of it is covered up by water. So wow, talk about, I think the commentator's curse is finally lifted for the two of us.
Yeah, honestly, a part of me was like, I want to see a Zarki circle, but I feel like that's too common. I want to see a Georgia Post circle. That is going to be interesting. To see
Yeah.
how the landscape is. All things considered, Chicha Gaming and APH, they share almost the same drop zone. This is, I believe, since yesterday they have been really overlapping. Juice is just getting fired at. He's parachuting down very, very slowly. We'll see if they can shoot the duck out of the sky. Whoever was firing at Juice.
That's an interesting thing. I mean, I guess he's like floating down slowly, so he will be able to still maintain like an oversight over his squad as they are on the ground farming there. So unfortunately, that still opens you up for the possibility of getting shot down by someone else, which was what we saw just now with the tracers headed his direction. But nevertheless, though, I don't think he has been caught out yet, because we haven't seen anything on the kill feed. So I think Jusek should be safe for now. Nevertheless, yet again, we're still. I still want to see whether or not teams like 4Piggies. I mean, we already saw what EXO clan was able to do. Just quickly shoot themselves all the way up into the first page of the leaderboard there, just from taking this one chicken dinner. But I want to see whether the other teams can do it here, because teams like 4Piggies, Charm Farmers, Aurora, Chichak, they have been impressive in some fights momentarily, but haven't really been able to find success yet compared to the other teams in that first page. So what is it going to take for these guys to finally get that break, though? Is it still going to be all about that luck, or can they make their own fate?
I think so far it has just been small skirmishes. You kind of those scenarios where you get the drop on someone, then you get a better lead. That has been the case for a lot of these teams, and we have seen squads like, I believe, Starlight just starting to take more initiative. But overall, at the end, it really still comes down to how your decision making in the process, right? Take AAP for example. This is a phenomenal team for the Philippines. I would argue that they are the strongest. I would top 2, top 3 from the region. And even then, sometimes you see those split-second decisions that resulted in catastrophic accidents. Game 1 was a very, very prime example where you get a team knocked down, and then it led to you spending time and resources, and it's just a domino effect that led to AAP becoming the first team to get completely wiped. So hopefully that changes in game number 2. I think some of these teams have been making minor sloppy mistakes that really cascades quickly into just a wipeout.
And that's just kind of like the nature of competitive esports, isn't it? Because frankly, you can spend an almost entire lifetime quite literally getting good at a game, but sometimes your success can just be dictated within a matter of minutes or even seconds. So it's really all about you being able to show up the moment that you are needed there and actually pull off like the play that you're looking for. And sometimes those moments added together are the ones that creates these kind of legends, right? Especially in terms of like teams in these regions here. Nevertheless, right now Pintados going for the spear on the Jexi. Is he gonna be able to get it? Not quite. Spends out the entire magazine, switches this rifle, almost putting him down to a single ping, but still no dice though. Jexi still able to get away, and then now Pintados comes under fire here from ONC. So now this is not looking good for them, because not only did they fail to get a knockdown, they're just dragging some unwanted attention now.
Yeah, CJ pops his head out, and Kaio has to carry him all the way into the building. No casualties, but definitely a very unfortunate opening for Pintados. You see that there's the intention to really start taking those engages, but Man, one call is just taking that opportunity to instantly start rotating, and Silent, he's not happy about that. Completely whiffing, well, missing most of these shots. Pusher it. It's not gonna get tagged in any way, but that vehicle is going to sustain a bit of that damage. End of the day, Silent, unfortunately, won't be able to get much done. One call, just basically pushing through the checkpoint set up by Pintados. You can see that the truck that I believe Pusher was driving, just smoking a little bit, but they have plenty of cars to work with, so not too big of a deal.
Yeah, no big deal. And in fact, they try to put it right, put the smoking car like quite away from view there, because I think the smoke trail may be able to reveal their position a little bit too much to other teams who happen to be nearby. For Samurai, who had a stellar first round here, going to be very interested to see how much more they can do. But PNC, they look like they're stalking their prey right about now, just rounding around, circling the wagons as it were, in these cars here. So still trying to find a good place to set up camp right now. But for Samurai, also has a member going around roaming to kind of explore just close to the perimeter. And I think they may have spotted Chichak Gaming, so we can see YSA regrouping the rest of his squad here in this complex near Severny. And that's a very good complex to kind of like farm in, actually, because there's a lot of nook and crannies where you can find plenty of good loot. So perhaps for Samurai just building themselves up on the next fight. Oh, Trevi! Cherry is the one getting knocked down, though. I think Blessed should be able to finish him off very quickly. There's PNC sustaining one casualty here as they run into Trident, and they're trying to get another one there, but I think Dusky and Suspect should be a little bit far away. Dusky now unfortunately spins around. Almost looked like he was trying to turn around the fight here, but I don't think PNC is going to be too interested in getting bogged down. But they're going to be running into another line of fire here as they bump into Action PH just off the road now. So that's forcing them to go off-road completely here. And again, it just makes me sometimes question whenever I see teams take onto the main road whenever they're maneuvering these cars, because don't they know how many points are there, or rather how exposed you are whenever you take a path like that? And I think PNC just kind of found that out the hard way.
PNC just not having a good game at all. They lost two members, and you can say the same for Chicha Gaming, for Samurai. Catching them going for a ride on the beach. GN. He's aiming for the third, not able to find it just yet. I mean, it's fine if they just settle for the two that they have. Oh, Gas Can just found suspects. PNC down to just one last member. Abysmal start to the day. Definitely not a good one if you are panicked, but Gas Can's happy that they can get at least a point on the way. Dusky, the last man alive, still not able to find a place to settle down. This is part of the problem, right? We kind of discuss about all these early rotations that kind of was forced because of these really rogue circles, and Dusky, he is feeling the impact of it, and he's just not fast enough, and he's still getting shot at, this time by Fleaways. 4 piggies making contact with PNC, and Fleaways, even saw someone else. It's Kikita from EXO. This guy is picking fights with everyone.
Yeah, just pick on anyone and everyone he can just land his crosshairs on. So Dusky, though, taking a little bit of a safer route here in this uneven terrain, but I don't think the car is necessarily the best car to use here, as you can see how much he's struggling right now to try to get himself in position. But nevertheless, he decides to kind of cut his losses a little bit and just patch himself up while he is in this embankment here. Where is this next circle going to land in? So we can already see Aurora moving up from the school area here to get into the safe zone. They will be able to get to near this river mouth area, or rather the river delta, just north of the ruins. AAP has already taken position around Jojopol, so has 4 clans. Things a little bit crowded in the right hand side as in the western side here. Gas Cans, they were already set up quite far north here, and they decided to take themselves in a very neutral position, and that's actually landed them quite in the next safe zone here. So that's actually good for them, but not so good for everyone else who hung out closer to Jojopol. Though they're gonna have to move in, and that's creating a bit of a choke point here, especially where Aurora is getting to. They're gonna be running into Pintados Esports very soon.
Chicha Gaming also just touched on the dry land, and once more gate kept by 4 Samurai and APH. Chicha Gaming and APH just could not separate from one another. Fate brings them back together every single time. Meanwhile, PE and Aura, they are basically side by side, just moving in parallel towards the safe zone. I think PE should spot Aurora as they go up this high ground, they're gonna rendezvous with Namcell as well. So Aurora gotta be really careful though. Jumi is kind of leading the convoy. CF on the other end, Big Boy Maka kind of left behind just for a while, but realizing that it's better to just move with the pack. So CF just moving up in a bit of a more split formation, but they gotta cut through 4 Samurai. And in fact, this is towards the corner of the safe zone, so there's not much complexes left for them to really bunker down. Big Boy Maka is just gonna decide to kind of make a pit stop out of this place, but this puts them really close to 4 Samurais.
Oh, Ryu getting himself knocked down by Invis as he got in there. Not again here. Our farmer is a little bit bogged down as well because they're receiving fire and Mako gets knocked down at the same time. This has gone from bad to worse here. KDR from FTF, the one who actually got the knockdown hit. So now he's going to be relinking with the rest of the squad, or perhaps even getting close up to CF there to finish off Big Boy Maka. But this is not looking good. Yeah, they're going straight for it. FTF, they smell the blood in the air right now. Now, Ryu has been brought up, but Invis only has just brought Maka back up the speed here. But FTF has already positioned themselves in the flanks, left, right, and center. 2 team members going very aggressively to the front right now. The smoke is just about to clear here. Maka hasn't quite got his heels up quite yet until just now. And they haven't been able to do it. And what the heck? Poor piggies as well, locking down their own members. What is going on here? Big Boy Maka, though, getting a good revenge hit there into man. Not able to finish out quite yet because Ryu still stuck inside the house here, still trying to catch out the flanker, which is going to be KDR from FTF on the other side of the embankment of the house. Now Invis is inside the house, so is TD. They're just playing hide and seek right now, a very dangerous one, especially with guns in hand. Ryu is still trying to provide fire support there, but it's making it quite still quite hard to spot every single member from the future. Now TD picks up a car, now tries to get it out of the way, but seems to be quite stuck, so he's not able to move it quite yet. So this is a little bit too bad right now. And 4 Samurai GN moves into the door only to get caught out by Invis, was already waiting there for someone to break right through, and unfortunately he's the one who has to catch it.
And able to catch just some GN over so from the cracks as well, but has attracted the attention of 4 Samurais. He's getting barbecued by the volley fatties. Oh, just enough damage to do so. Ryu couldn't save him in time with the smoke. Last man alive for the side of for CF. Just horrible news. Fatty taking a bit of a hit, but 4 Samurais have more than enough members. FTF so far has evacuated the area just a little bit. They're gonna leave CF to their own demise, and FTF taking that long range approach. Honestly, I have a proposition for a production crew. Maybe if there's time, we just can make a compilation of team roadkills by vehicles, because these accidents are getting a bit out of hand. CF definitely feeling the brunt of that, and I'm not sure how long Ryu can stay. He's gotten an elimination for himself, able to take down one of the members from 4 Samurais, but that's pretty much it. I think his time is definitely numbered unless 4 Samurais gets 1v3 again like the previous round.
Yep. Oh boy, bit of a counter right now as 4 Piggies seems to have got a knockdown onto Goose there from Exo Clan, and that's forcing Kang and Squikita to move up and regroup with them. But 4 Piggies has caught on the ground right now, and Freeways, lots of pressure coming in from Kang as he does successfully knock him down there and finishes him off for good measure. Him as well as Gops should be out for the count now. Meantime, TD runs straight into Senti and he finishes him off as he tries to bring his car to the edge of the cliff. It flies right off, just like a scene out of a Hollywood movie there. Action PH yelling lights, camera in action right there. Rems keeping oversight there, trying to see where the other members of FTF are. KDR is already kind of pinned down at this cliffside edge. Didn't really expect to encounter APH here, though they seem to have recovered somewhat, beginning to knock down into Rudvin. Still having to spot out where Senti is, though, and he remains a big threat right now for KDR because he still has no idea. Sends out a throw bolt in his general direction, but that's not where he is. He is down by the cliffside, and he's already bringing Rudvin back up into speed. So, oh boy. Now, the rest of FTF are now coming in. Man and Simoy are coming in to try to back up KDR and hopefully be able to finish off this member of APH who's stuck on the outside. And KDR finds Senti and does knock him down. Can he finish him off in time, though? Yes, Simoy comes in now, finishes his partner there, Rudvin, and will be able to get the grace there and 2 kill points for FTF.
I think APH wanted to have Jo coming from the flank, but he took a bit too long, and you can see on the map Jo is driving away. This fight is already done and dusted. Meanwhile, for Pentados, they are getting completely surrounded by Trident, and of course, that one low member Snow is putting a lot of pressure from the side. So Pentados, they gotta try and get rid of Snow just so that they could alleviate some of that side pressure. With APH from afar also shooting in that general direction, it will make it a bit more complicated for Pentados to do too much. They gotta get Kaio back up though, and Trident moving forward with their vehicles. Pentados, you gotta try and hold the fort right now. Trident mounting this assault. They have Snow prevent support fire, and Silent just got brought back up. The troll was coming through the nade under the vehicle. Watch out, Namsel, two of them! Namsel getting knocked down, and Silent can't get close to his teammate. The third one underneath Silent, they are just getting bombarded. CJ getting caught as well. And Kaio, the last man standing. They were able to get rid of Blast, but that's pretty much it. Trident completely showering Pentados, and this is just nothing that they could do.
Wow, that was incredible there from Trident. And just off on the map earlier on, I also saw four samurais getting bumping into Aurora and actually having a couple of their members knocked down at the same time. So I wonder how many members of theirs are still alive right now. Trident's jam is actually moving into where Aurora is, and Aurora only has a single vehicle for not only their use but also for their cover. So they're in a little bit of a sticky situation. That's not necessarily because they are outnumbered. Just that it's very much lacking cover. Greg trying to get a knockdown there into that gas cans member. Didn't quite get him though, but he does have Luke right here, so he should be able to finish this one off very easily to get that easy single kill point. 10x Speedy finds one of the EMPT, and he will be able to finish him off there just in time to save his teammate M0, who is caught up inside the shack.
EXO in the meantime has been eliminated, so finishing in, I believe, 13th place. Trident continuing to fight out. Aurora getting absolutely sprayed now. What such control from Jam. Should be able to get this finisher. 1 HP left, but 1 HP is all he needs to stay alive and continue the run for Trident. Myla is sort of brought back up. Oh, PRDX coming through. Back up from Trident, not able to keep Jam alive. So Aurora at least getting something done, but unfortunately for PRDX, he's completely boxed in. And Trident just slowly making this a painful one for PRDX.
Yeah, I think like he certainly should have like popped a smoke or something if he had one. But we'll look at next go. Troll getting everything thrown at them, including the kitchen sink, and there's no way M0 is going to be surviving that. I think Speedy is probably going to be taken down as well. Asba is way too far in order to try to rescue his teammates though, so I think TNX might be down to 1 by the end of this here. What a wow. That's just so unfortunate there for Trident Esports.
Just nowhere to go. Spotter hiding in the shack and basically barbecued by the Molotov. One call, doing a pretty decent job, at least getting 2 points out of that. Starlight spreading out at the perimeter of the circumference of the circle. FTF touching down again, just basically getting gate capped by Chicha Gaming. And CG also getting pressure from behind as well. APH, once more, refuses to separate from CG. But if you're FTF, you gotta try and push it right now. Man, getting a good start onto 1 Eons. Getting that knockdown, that will weaken the defenses of CG. But they gotta do a bit more than that. Whereas Gascan Nikos, he's gonna get a 1v1 confrontation with Loba if Loba goes up onto flat land. And for now, a 1 call. Also has just found a safe haven. But YSA, he's hiding there.
Yeah, oh, KDR. He already got the kill onto X7 Yes. Now trying to set up some smoke in order to try to creep his way to the safe zone now. I think he is very much alone. So is YSA from 4 Samurai. As I mentioned, 2 of the members got knocked down by Aurora, and I think he lost his teammate as well on the way to the safe zone. So now 4 Samurai is faced with a very, very difficult situation now where they're not going to be able to capitalize too much in elimination points, but it probably will be able to make a play for placement if YSA is able to play smart enough in these next few phases. Now, man, unfortunately, gonna be taken down a notch there. I think might have been caught out in the blue zone maybe, because it doesn't seem like anyone actually picked him off there. Agent Bots actually, I think, has spotted gas cans who have, for the most part, been pretty much holed up over here in this circle for a very, very long time now, and have only managed to rack up 3 kills so far. Mukau, of course, has been the one carrying gas cans a lot yesterday, and will be doing the same today. Rams gets caught just a stray grenade there, and he's going to be knocked down. He's close enough to the shack though, but FTF is going to use this opportunity to move up onto Jo, and he's very much in the world of hurt right now, headed towards him because a Molotov and a grenade's headed in his direction right now. Gas cans getting through a pressure now by AAP. They're storming their positions here, and they're getting knockdowns as a result as well. But Nikos is still keeping his eyes peeled here. He's able to get one knockdown there. Luke 12 able to recover very, very quickly and finish this off. Actually, action PH right there and then.
Just very, very good control. A very, very good and a baited switch from gas cans. Greg Shot will inevitably be rescued. Gas cans continuing kind of shake off the defeat of match 1. Now they're back in action. Bless having a rough time. Seems that Snow will be the only one left alive. That Nate is gonna tag him for a bit of a chip damage. Starlight coming in to provide help as well, because Haji just got picked off by Trick from afar. Hayase needs a bit of assistance because 9 is also getting pelted. I mean, Starlight, they are very far from one another. Solution for here, she's going to be able to rendezvous with Hayase, but that is pretty much it. Gas cans from behind is also slowly coming through. Starlight about to get pincered.
Yeah, and Snow is still out in no man's land here, and maybe a thorn on the SL side. At least I say that until KDR actually finishes him off there. So that's another point now going to From the Future. Gas cans still having the high ground relatively in this circle right now. KDR spots it there by 9. He's going for the shots, trying to get the knockdown, but KDR ducks into the smoke just in the nick of time as the blue zone creeps onto this safe zone. The safe zone moves still into the center here. That might be good news for gas cans though, because they still have an area to maneuver, and they still have the high ground here, which they will use in fact to take down Hayase, who tried to make his climb up to the top. Now Solution PH tries to return fire, but isn't able to get a return knockout on their own side, and gas cans become Mukau now just pushing the pressure onto Starlight, trying to force them off of this area here, trying to force the pressure off of themselves here, as Solution PH unfortunately now having to duck and run here, setting up some smokes to at least obfuscate his position, and that at least is going to be able to keep him in a little bit of a calm right now before one call actually moves in on his position. Oh, grenade! Oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness! Another one coming his way. And that one actually hit their Trick there, finishing off Solution inside the smoke.
That's, I believe, 4, 5 frags and a molly.
Yeah.
One call expending quite a lot for that, but at least they were able to secure. The bad news is that they will not be able to retrieve that crate from the dead body of Starlight. So no replenishment of resources for one call. They gotta continue with what they have left in the arsenal. Gas cans form and alive, same as one call. Whereas for 4 Samurai, YSA will be kind of the last bastion of the team. We are still pretty early into this game, considering the fact that it is only phase number 6. We're down to just 9 players. This is a faster game than we have gotten so far.
Yeah, actually, now that you mentioned it, I mean, it doesn't feel that way really with the amount of action we've been having in between, but man, just thinking about Trick as well, I mean, it took them a few tries, but at least one call finally found solutions. But, oh, look at that supply crate landing right out in the open there, so that could be useful for YSA though, but he's very patient right now trying to spot push it on the edge there, but he doesn't quite have the zoom necessarily, or the range, I think, on that Mini 14 to be able to take him down quickly. So it's much better for him to try to just play very patiently right now. Just wait for the other teams, the other squads to encounter each other and start fighting, and try to just catch opportunities like that. But Pusher it conversely, it's just keeping an eye out. He's literally the guy on the high ground here for one call, so he's the one kind of spotting the other squads in this next circle here. Now that blue zone is starting to creep in now, 30 seconds before the end of this phase here, and then we're going to be getting right into the end game now. So with how he stands here is that Gascan still has a full stack, so has ONC. ONC is a little bit more spread out, but they had to watch out for one wild card here. It's going to be YSA in the form of 4 Samurais player there. So that's where the cards are stacked. Let's see how they play them.
One call just skirting literally the edge corner of the safe zone. But those footsteps very audible right now. Gascan should be ready to receive this hit. Jaxi and Trick will kind of be the tip of the spear. And I think they have an inkling. Greg Shots. He is going to be, pairing up with Waikika Pusher It will be watching from the other end. But Luke, he has gotten a bit of information. Pusher It exposed. And one call might need to speed up the hit if they realize that, because Gascans are now even more aware. Now, obviously, one call does have a significant advantage in terms of numbers on that southeastern side. It's going to be a 3 versus 2 scenario, but they do not have the high ground though. So Gascans can still win this, and Pusher isn't in the best spot to provide any sort of backup. So you can see that he's running away, but he might run straight into YSA, and if Pusher goes down, one call will have to do something.
Yeah, he's going straight for the supply crate right now. So, yep, picks up a mini 14. So now tries to regroup with the rest of his squad, who is already starting to put some fire onto gas cans there. And YSA moving up on the side. Is he going to spot Pusher It? He's going to put a shot. He tries to... Oh, he gets spotted out actually by Jexy. And unfortunately, Nando is the one who actually catches him out on the other side. So he's already down, which means that this is now a battle between gas cans and ONC. Now, gas cans now moving very rapidly into this next safe zone here. They know exactly that this is basically going to be an all-out fight. No holds barred here. Pusher It now keeping an eye on his teammates here. He almost actually takes a shot there on his teammate there, Enrico Kukau. But Greg Shot sends out a grenade, going towards the rock there, making sure to clear out the boulder. Luke 12 takes position right there and then, hoping to actually catch some of ONC, but there's no one behind that rock though, so they still have to continue searching.
And look at Gascan just systematically taking space. And now not only did they gain more than half the circle, well, almost half the circle, this even split is actually a bit uneven. And it's in favor of Gascans. They just have a bit more control. Now these smoke grenades will make it even harder for One Trick to make any meaningful moves. They could continue setting up those smokes for themselves. Kind of play that slow game. Nikos, he's going to be playing towards the northeastern side. And that's where Nanduje is not paying attention to, at least for now. So Nikos could be that tipping factor for Gascans, whereas the rest of Gascans, they will also start setting up the smoke trail. Circle closing in. We're entering phase number 8. Very, very soon, and this will really dictate who gets kind of that advantage, and it's gonna be, well, none of them. In fact, I think one call gets more of the advantage because the circle has all of the entire team in it. Greg Shots is gonna move forward, Waikika taking a spot on top of that border, and now shots are finally getting exchanged. Pusher It receiving a bit of a hit early on, not wanting to commit, but Gascans, they are slowly inching forward.
Yeah, the thing is that both squads have to watch their positioning, they have to watch their spacing, and they always have to cover each other's back. This is very much a game of reactions right now. The first one to land the knockdown is probably the team that's going to be able to storm the other. So neither side wants to be able to expose themselves to too much risk at this point. So that's why they're playing so close to the edge here, just constantly scanning the horizon, constantly watching out for every tree, every boulder there to see if they can catch a silhouette somewhere. But now ONC, they are just playing it very, very safe here as well on their end. And given that they're already in position in this next circle here, they're just waiting to see if the space is small enough to force Gascan out in the open. But neither side just giving an inch nor a mile.
Waikika even has a vehicle, so that would be a small advantage. It's a bit of pressure if you are the members of one call. The jump peak. No, not spotting anyone else. Now the grenades start flying through from one call. They see that vehicle, so Waikika has attracted considerable amount of heat. Both teams spread it out really well. Obviously, if you're Nanduje, you gotta pay attention to Nikos, and he's trying to look for this guy from Gascans. Unfortunately, the elevation is not helping any of them. Pusher also not willing to really go too far up because he knows that Gascans has taken control of majority of that high ground. This circle is going to push them literally into each other at this point. Phase number 9, 10 seconds. And remember, one call leading up to this point, they expanded a lot of utility beforehand, so they don't have much left in the tank. Look at Pusher, he only has one more Molotov left after the one that he tossed out. So this might be a utility disadvantage for one call. And Gascans, they don't know about this yet, but with all these utilities getting thrown out for one call and not getting much value in return, things might get very, very tricky for them in this final push.
And they might want to try to just send the troubles anyway to try to burn out Gas's own, because they're sending out as many smokes as they can to block the horizon here. Oh, that's a good hit on the pusher it though, and that's putting a bit of pressure now to ONC, but they're still continuing to push the climb here. Now Trick is on the edge of the smoke, so is Nikos. They're still not able to spot anyone here on either side, and they really don't want to risk getting being one of the first ones being knocked down. But now throwables are being sent back by Gascan's side to try to gain some ground here. Nikos is still a little bit left on the lurch. The Molotov is coming out. There's 2 smokes near Gregshot is about to clear, but no, there still is one more smoke that's been opened up that's going to keep him in cover. Jexy pulls back a little bit here. Oh, Gregshot gets caught! Gregshot gets caught by Trick now. Now what is one call going to try to do? Yukao is going to try to move up with the car as well to try to get a knockdown, but it looks like ONC is now rapidly responding to this here, trying to scan around. Molotov being sent out. This is absolute chaos here right now as Nando and Nando is getting caught out here. Luke 12 has been knocked down as well. It looks like things are not looking good for Gascans here, but then they're still returning fire, and they actually knocked out a couple members of ONC in the result. Nikos now having to hide behind the boulder there. Gets hit there on the Trick. Now it's 1 versus 1 here. Jexy versus Nikos. Nikos sends out a Molotov, tries to scan around the boulder, trying to catch a head, but doesn't quite knock him down. Now in the meantime though, he's still, I think Jexy is trying to get a revive onto one of his teammates at even odds with Pusher it, and I think Nando is providing some information there on where Nikos' position is, so he needs to kind of finish them off, but the thing is, he's not able to do so in time. Tries to get a hit onto Jexy, but he's not doing enough damage there. Sending out the Molotov there, that actually lands right behind where Jexy is. Jexy sends a frag grenade, smoke there. Actually, that's going to make it hard for Nikos to stay in the position. He needs to try to move out, but Jexy pops out just in time for Nikos to catch the kill, and Gascans gets their chicken dinner.
What an ending for Gascans. Nikos, the clutch god, saving his team, but most importantly, he was able to. So the last moment, he just found this random Molotov beside the tree that he was taking cover, and that Molotov was so useful because it pushed Jexy out into the open. It's forcing him to take all these fights, and Jexy just felt really compelled to make a move. Nico just great patience and really abusing the fact that Jexy felt that he might go for the revive and just taking the initiative. But at the end of the day, props to Gascans for finally getting the first chicken dinner of the Challenger Rumble. But at the same time, for the side of one call, this is the best round that they have demonstrated since day one. So both teams deserve huge credits, but the way that Gascans handled the final sequence was impeccable.
Yeah, I expect his teammates are going to be buying him a drink after this for pulling off that chicken dinner for sure. But wow, I mean, there was a very tense final few minutes there, not gonna lie, because all the time, it's just about who's going to be the first one to be knocked out, who's the one going to get hit first. And unexpectedly, it was Greg from Gascans who unfortunately caused that domino effect to really explode there. But somehow, as things kind of whittled down, one call unfortunately wasn't able to capitalize too well. They did go quite aggressively, but I think Luke as well as Luik got themselves knocked down in that fight. So whatever advantage that one call had initially just kind of evaporated almost immediately. So when it all came down to this 1v1 clutches, it's always the toughest thing. It's really that's kind of the moments where you as a player really have to show your worth there, right? Because it's just you're the only person on the ground right now. Your decisions, the actions, and your mistakes are the ones that pretty much makes or breaks a team. And Nikos, gotta say, really handled the pressure quite well.
And this is why Gascans is one of the favorites, one of the best teams that we had, that we have right now in the region. They completely crushed the qualifiers leading up to this. So continuing that momentum, really love seeing teams that are just so at the top of their game. And this completely negates whatever happened in game one. Yeah, sure, game one was not the best. It was their, I would say, the lowest point for Gascan so far. They only got 3 points out of it. But even then, they ended up extending their lead on the leaderboard anyway. Now with this round, I think they are just so much farther ahead. This match is crazy. I love this sequence from Trident. The way that they completely destroyed Pintados as well, as Pintados tries to find any sort of ground is not working out, and even Trident to a certain extent had very, very great moments in this round.
Yeah, and wow, I mean, again, looking back, you just realize that so much actually has happened, in this mid phase of the game. It's like, which is kind of like really a pattern, I have to say, for even yesterday itself. I mean, again, we're seeing a lot of these protracted fights between squads already from phase 3 all the way to phase 5 itself. And what I'm seeing here, what I'm liking really is that, neither teams are really, dominating each other at this point right now. It just feels like these fights are still quite even and can still be anyone's game here. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and have a look at the tally for this round itself. Gascans, of course, takes the top honors right now, 12 eliminations and 10 ranking points, putting up to 22. That's going to be 5 points ahead of one call. So despite the valiant efforts, they still were able to call back a very decent amount of points here. From the future, again, another team that I was kind of expecting to become a factor in this last circle here, but unfortunately wasn't really quite to be. Nevertheless, their 8 eliminations have kept them very competitive here on this round, keeping them ahead of both Trident, 4 Samurais, as well as Starlight.
Yeah, and this is so good to see, right? You are seeing the 4 Samurais from the future, and especially one call being up in the top 5. Trident actually for Oceania. Trident also in 4th place. 1 placement point, but they got 8 eliminations. So this is also a fairly decent round for Trident. I think the one team that you definitely gotta start feeling for right now is PNC, because this team showed incredible performance on Erangel yesterday, but these first 2 maps have been abysmal. First round completely shut down by 4 Samurai, and round 2 they just couldn't get their footing at all. And this is going to be the eventual standings. Gascans a monstrosity 21 points ahead of the second place teams with just 1 call. So it's good to see 1 call up in the second place. We're from the future in 3rd, 4 Samurai in 4th, with 50 points, and that pushes Panic down to 46.
Yeah, I mean, again, they didn't actually make any progress at all from this round here compared to last. So, wow, I mean, they're, again, starting to sink like a rock a little bit, even though Starlight as well was able to gain some points here, but they're still stuck very much at the bottom of this first page here. And if you look at squads like EXO as well as Tridents, they're really starting to fall so far behind here. I think it's making it going to make it very hard. It's going to take EXO at least another chicken dinner before they could even feel competitive right now in this top 8. So that's the way it stands right now. And with Gascans, of course, nailing down their first chicken dinner, this is just further cementing their lead right now, even ahead. Even though ONC is now kind of overtaken AAP as well as the PNC here, but they're still not able to get anywhere close to touching or taking away this 20-point lead that Gascans has.
And look at Gascans, right? They played 7 rounds and they have 58 eliminations. Again, this is the first time that Gascans has taken the lead, not just in elimination points, but also in placement points. They have 27, the highest so far. Big contrast to yesterday. And that is really, an evidence of Gascans being very, very consistent regardless of the situation, right? You show me the scoreboard and you say that they had a bad round in the opening round, I would not believe it at all, because 85 points in 7 rounds, again, keeping that average alive for Gascans. In fact, if mathematics serves me correctly, they actually still keep the 12 points per round average for themselves, despite completely, bombing out early in the previous round. So huge testament for this team.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you look back at their performance yesterday itself, the only round they kind of they got the worst at they still managed to place a 7th place anyway. So they're still consistently, in the top 8 round after round, even through Erangel as well as Miramar. In fact, like Erangel is probably the map that they're strongest in, given they were, at one point even 2nd place, literally in that first round itself. And the fact that they're just like that today is mostly an Erangel based kind of day here. This is a good opportunity for Gas Cans now to just further cement the lead here with this final round of Erangel to go.
Final match on Erangel for day 2. Let's see what else has. I'm very excited to see the teams play, but I am also very excited to see how the game plays the team, as the game has been ruthless so far. Obviously, this is a flight path I believe we're seeing for the first time, at least throughout the Challenger Rumble. Just a bit more of an even one this time from the south to the north. It's gonna, finish at Jojo Paul. 4 Samurais just taking point in Sosnovka. That is their safe haven. We can expect APH and Chicha Gaming to take the same spot down, near school early on. Trident also very, very nearby that area as well. For FTF just goes to Jojo Paul, and Gascan just taking that split. Nico's gonna be on his own when the rest of Gascans will slowly parachute down to the northern area, which is completely uninhabited.
I mean, it's just really interesting that Gascans really favors like the northern side of Erangel every single time. I've just seen them drop there time and time again. It just feels like that is like their preferred sort of like opening, really. Just like take control over the shooting range or Severny and just use like that complex for farming. And the thing is that this circle is not even that far away necessarily from their position. So if anything, like they seem to have like hit the nail on the head on like where exactly or what exactly their game plan is, and that's actually served them so well over the course of the now 5 rounds of Erangel that we've played here so far in the Challenge Rumble.
Oh yeah, this well, at least we get a Western Circle, I guess. Still in the corner though. I mean, I have a theory, right? I feel like when in the top level of competition, the game itself is just like, you know what? If you really are the best of the best, let's give you guys really tough circles. We haven't seen any fair, well, I wouldn't say fair ones. We haven't seen the normal ones, right? Where you get the center, everyone congregates in the center of the map. It's always, make that early rotation to the northern side of the map or something. This is going to be a bit of a shakeup because we haven't gotten a Western Circle yet. This one is going to be another deadly one towards the very far west. A couple of teams have already taken point, and you can expect teams like Gatcans, they will have to start rotating pretty soon, and that might prompt them to cut through Jojo Paul if they want to make that early entry from that the southern side of the circle. But knowing Gatcans, they probably will take their time.
Like speaking about the way these circles seem to play out, I like to imagine that Player Unknown himself, like every time there's like a global final or like a regional final, he's just basically like behind the scenes, taking a dart and just throwing it at the map and just determining that, okay, where the dart lands is where the circle is. And I think that's probably the best way to kind of keep things random, right? But nevertheless, it's always like funny anytime that the circles seem to just run counter to what a lot of like expectations are, and it just fuels that conspiracy, doesn't it? It just fuels that sort of idea that somehow this game is trying to play its players in some way, or just kind of like ruin their entire like momentum, just like kind of like a virtual sabotage, if you will.
Yeah, the feeling that you would be fine if you only get these kind of openers every once in a blue moon. But this is, if we include yesterday, it has been 8 consecutive matches that we get circles that are just unforgiving. It's definitely gonna be a bit tough to prepare for this. We'll see. I mean, it has given us very, very interesting games. I won't be complaining if that will be the case for the rest of the Challenger Rumble. APH making very early moves this time compared to CG. They did get spotted out by Pintados, but there's just no point taking these early fights. So just let APH cut through the Gatka plains and move into that western side of the map. One call already making their move at AAP. Oh, Alec, you cannot. Someone stop Alec from driving. This is the second time today that he has ran down Evil Patrick. I don't know what is happening behind the scenes, but yeah, just don't let
Like,
him drive.
I mean, okay,
Suspend his license.
yeah, it's probably at least earned enough points of his license to be taken away now, I think. But to be fair to them, right? Like, the car controls in PUBG tend to be very floaty, and I say this as someone who's like plays a lot of racing games, does a lot of racing simulations. Like, the cars in PUBG act very weird, and they don't necessarily respond the way you expect, compared to any other sort of like video game, which is kind of weird, especially given that PUBG is on an Unreal Engine, because part of like the strengths of Unreal Engine is just having very good like vehicles, right? But I don't know, I guess it's part of like the challenge, I suppose, of playing PUBG, is just getting to grips with like the very often weird physical vehicle physics, and also avoiding this kind of situation here, which Remiz has actually caught himself in, where he's in a buggy, completely exposed, and got himself shot down by AAP.
And AAP at least able to recover better this time, not getting knocked out. Ruben barely escaping. APH not finding the opening that they want to. All things considered, look at Alec. He is spearheading this movement, trying to hunt down APH. But I don't think... Alec's actually trying to track them, and look at where he's heading. He's calling the rest of AAP to join him at the hilltop, so AAP forced to cut towards the other side in the complete opposite direction. Tanex and Four Samurais just moving in parallel, and Four Samurais taking the main road, obviously. There is a body of water. This is already towards the edge, kind of towards the center point of the circle, so Four Samurais should be very much safe. Don't really need to worry too much on the southern, on their southern side.
Yeah.
It's one of those games, one of those scenarios where you just see, Four Samurais rotate early. This is what I would expect from a team like Panic. Surprisingly enough, they haven't been able to find that footing today.
I know, right? Again, but when you look back at the results from yesterday itself, you could even make the argument that Panic is kind of like a team that tends to burn out very quickly. Like, they will be very impressive on like the opening rounds of the day, but then they will start to drop off like massively in the second and subsequently the third round. And you can see that from the drop off they had, where like in Miramar, round number 3 yesterday, Miramar, they got chicken dinner, but then the next round, subsequently, they end up 11th place and 0 kill points. So that's a massive amount of inconsistency in the way that like Panic has played so far in day number 1 and 2 now. So I think in day 2 here, where a lot of teams now have warmed up, a lot of teams are a lot more ready to take fights, they seem to be falling behind quite a bit. And now Cherry is under fire from Tragics. Fortunately, seems to be able to avoid getting knocked down so far, but that's not going to do any favors for him in terms of health, though, because he doesn't have a lot of health kits to begin with.
Yes. See the amount of stress they will drive away. Suspects coming in for a potential pickup fact, but they see him driving into the smoke. Suspect, you gotta move away right now and able to extract his teammate at least. Aurora not getting much in return from that, but it did put a bit of pressure onto PNC, who so far have not been able to find a place to really settle down at all. This is going to be absolutely deadly. If you look at the circle, PNC is not remotely close just yet, which is something that we don't see too often from this team, at least from the matches that we have witnessed. So when PNC arrives, it's going to be very messy. As if it's already not is, I believe we have at least 12 teams in the circle at this point.
Yeah, so let's see where this circle is going to land. I mean, again, it's going to be half of it in the water here. So, I think we might see a repeat of like what happened in round 2 yesterday, where lots of teams get so crowded around this circle that fights just inevitably break out. But we're already seeing a fight now break out inside the blue zone itself, as Gas Cans actually, the gate kept Trident completely and takes out both Snow and Milla before they're even able to make their way across the bridge here. So, or rather, just as they made their way across the bridge. So, already 2 kill points for them on their own, and given they're out in the blue zone here, they're not going to face any resistance quite literally for looting the corpses here. TNX though getting caught up in a bit of a fight now with APH. Looks like 2 of them are down, though they're inside the house, so they should be able to get revived, but not the same can't be said of Senti though, because he's on the opposite building to where Jo is, and Jo is having a bit of a hard time now trying to flush out TNX. He does have a few smoke grenades, but not enough frags nor molotovs to really capitalize on the closing the closed rooms across from him. So now he's just needing to
no.
wait. And look at who's rolled up to the picture here. 4 Piggies, Baby Zio now storming the building where Senti is. Though Senti doesn't look too long in this world right now. He's probably going to be down for the count very soon.
Oh, this circle is getting worse, from bad to worse. Look at where it is. It's not only populated, but there's so less space to wiggle around. Baby Zio nade second floor. Cooked up just enough, but not taking Asba. Now, does have that Molly in hand. 2 Mollies, in fact. And 4 Piggies finally begin to see a bit of actions from this team. Tactics, not an easy squad to eliminate. And look at 4 Piggies. They are just setting up a stream of smoke grenades. They really want to storm the castle, and they're doing it. Baby Zio will provide backup. It's going to set the second floor on flame. At least flushing TNX to a corner. Gops have his own frag as well. Catching M0. That is the first step that you gotta do. Gops completely barbecuing M0, and 4 Piggies systematically working that ground floor. At TNX, they have Speedy down right there, but if they lose Speedy, this is going to be an absolute catastrophe. Jo spots out where Baby Zio is, but Gops, he has already found Speedy. Action PH. Can you at least play spoilers before TNX goes down? And it seems like that might be the case. Gops takes a big hit, but not enough to be down. And while that was happening, One Call is watching all of this happen.
I'm just surprised that Jo has not decided to cut his losses at this point, because it looks like this situation is a bit untenable right now. Maybe Zio gets caught out in the meantime though, so at least Jo will be able to have that for himself. And Lolba actually gets a grenade kill against Asba right now. So if anything, Jo is even more alone than he was previously. Now Lolba is going to be coming out on the outside here. Jo is taking to the rooftops here to at least get a good line of sight. But we also see One Call making their way up here. Trick already having a grenade in hand, is waiting to find a good position, try to send one out. Doesn't quite get the knockdown yet, but Lolba is just behind the door, and he's already trying to keep his sights on the back here to try to cover off for 4 Piggies. A little push here, but he comes out the door just to meet his end here at the hands of Trick. So One Call also putting some kills here. Jo now finally pulls away from that rooftop. I think he's finally thinking about making an exfil, but in the meantime, 4 Piggies storm inside the house, finishes both Asba and Horseshoe, and I think TNX is completely gone now.
And ONC decides to completely abort mission. No need to fully commit to it. And look at the southern side. CG shows up. Aurora, PNC, Pentados, and Trident. They're all driving in to the southern side, into the circle. And One Call, yeah, they spot CG and they're like, guys, we have bigger fishes to fry. Let us start pelting CG. The first one to reach the building, to reach into the circle late. APSJ still staying alive. Aurora, meanwhile, eliminated, I believe, by PNC of all teams. So this is it's very unlucky for Aurora and Tanex. Again, this is what we expected, right? Populated zone. Starlight is still in the blue. Gas cans coming in from the north. Pentalo just found Gem as well. Trident Esports. It feels like Bless will have to fight this one as Kaio is keeping him pinned down. Can Bless at least get a decent trade? But he's not able to find it. And Kaio does have the nade. Explosive coming through. Bless avoids the nade, but catches the bullet in the face anyways. Trident goes out.
Oh man, blessed. Just so unfortunate there. And Pentados will be able to loot the spoils of war, as it were. Jo, surprisingly, has still maintained his position, though he is still in the midst of 4 Piggies' own lineup here, and they are still not quite done trying to flush him out of that building here, as it seems. And I think as this next save zone still lands on top here, so Jo could still maybe afford to stay a little while. But I think like there's going to be diminishing returns at this point now for him, because just being caught out here just by himself is just not going to do him any favors in terms of getting enough equipment or utilities for the end of this round here if he wants to try to make a play for placement points. Now, 4 Samurais find themselves in another prime situation here, because they've taken control over this beachhead that's full of rocks, and they also taken control of a complex just to the north of it, and they're holding up a CF as they're doing so. But that this next circle lands right on top of them, so they just might have landed themselves in another prime spot here. Could we see 4 Samurai actually make it all the way through and actually catch a chicken dinner this time around?
And look at on the radar, gas cans, they are driving through the fire zone, and so far, all of them make it through. 2 different teams firing at them, and no one from gas cans goes down. These guys are working in the matrix, finally making a pit stop, at least for now, deciding to at least send Greg shots a bit far forward to find extra info, to do a bit of recon work. I think Gascan's feeling really comfortable with where they have parked themselves. Not spotted by much teams, and actually not too hard to hold either. You just gotta worry about teams coming in from the backs, out into Predator. You can see that they're very spread out, trying to play the gatekeeping game, but I think the last team to come through from their general direction was Gascan, so AAP have no more teams to gatekeep. Can't say the same for Cheetah Gaming though. They're touching down straight into the crosshairs of Cherry, and he's gonna alert the rest of his team. Suspect and Pivy already taking spot. One Aeon getting one. Kaipon also coming in from the second. CG might have a chance. Dusky from the corner finds the flank, and Panic Esports hold it down.
Woo. That's a quick kill to Cheetah Gaming. It just feels like they were just caught with the pants down for most of that fight, really. But PNC didn't really take too much casualties, just a couple of knockdowns, and that can easily be patched up here in Phase 3 right now. It's just crazy that these big fights is just occurring right now, and we're still in Phase 3 of the game. Now, One Call has heard a commotion, and they're starting to crowd around where PNC is, so they need to get themselves up to speed quickly now, as Nando and Jexy has already moved close to the complex and almost knocking straight on their door.
And One Call, they have covered basically all the external angles of this entire compound. They do have decent utilities to work with. PNC got enough time to stock up a bit of that arsenal. Smoke grenades getting lobbed out just to block that hallway a bit. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, it's going to be again Charm Farmers with the gun dust with Kita start off. It's Charm Farmers of all people. That means 4 Samurai have their work cut out for them. The circle finally going back onto dry land. No more body of water to worry about. 4 Pig is unfortunately sent to the slaughterhouse as Nan finishes off the last Vistage of that team. EXO in the meantime trying to get through to their members Quikita, but they gotta be careful because in that building it's not gonna be Charm Farmers. It is going to be 4 Samurai, and they will try to check it as much as they can. Meanwhile, One Call still trying to find a chink in the armor of PNC.
Yeah, so 3 different fights finding themselves all across the map right now. Right now, I focus on Starlight versus Pintados, and that's a good grenade troll, almost catching out X-Kaio. Namxiao, though, he is trying to return fire, and he almost catches Solution with that nice throw over there, but unfortunately has to pull back a little bit. Now, Starlight, they do have a bit of an advantage, really, because they have control over this side of the hill, but then I say that PE actually just storms literally on the flank, in the flanking maneuver, and actually forces the rest of Starlight to scatter. Hachi is able to pull away, but not quite able to carry the rest of his team, though, who is still stuck down there. Specifically, Solution is still stuck in the middle of the smoke right now. Hachi is trying to run distraction. He almost gets caught out, but not quite knocked down yet. In the meantime, FTF is already finishing off what looks like some members of Samurai here. Hachi now almost making it to the shack. One last hit there will be able to knock him down. He does get knocked down, but just as he walks into the shed, so he should be safe for now. Now, Pintados has to focus on Solution. He's still inside the smoke. In the meantime, One Call finally gets himself on the door. They're making a breach. They're making an entry right now into PNC's area. Scanning all corners right now. They're literally storming this floor here. They found Cherry. They took him down quickly. Dusky gets caught out on the stairwell here. The Cherry is on the other side right now, and he will be taken out completely by Trick. ONC making his very quick storm and front.
Yeah, just a professional SWAT team straight into the building. Panic Esports completely unprepared. Can Suspect hold on? He's splashed as well. Whoa, just incredible usage of utility. Every single stone turned by ONC. I mean, Panic just not able to respond the way that they want to. All these tight angles cleared up by those flashes. No frags needed. Oh, you really love to see it from ONC. This was what we wanted to from day number 1. They couldn't put it up, but they've cleaned up so much of those micro movements. It's incredibly clean. When we Panic out in what, 10th place, this is really, really bad news because 3 rounds in a row, Panic has not been able to do much. Though the silver lining is this match, they did get a considerable amount of eliminations. Just wish that they gotten more placement points along the way.
Yeah, it looks like SL's Hachi as well as 9 are still stuck inside the shack. I don't see Solution on the map anymore, so I think he might have just been taken out completely here by Pintados, who still has a 4-man stack. Now, the smoke should be clearing very soon now for SL here. So either they're going to have to try to get to the car and make a break for it, or just risk having the car completely taken out. But the thing is, Silent is sending grenades into the shack and actually hits the Hachi. And one more hit from the back there onto 9 from FTF of all teams actually finishes off the rest of Starlight. So that's the end of their journey for now. The Starlight getting cut down in their prime here as 4 Samurai's last member GN makes his way to this next circle, which happens to land on the main road here. So you already see EXO squad trying to put some shots onto Pentados. Gas cans are still locked in a bit of a siege right now against AAP, though they're also keeping an eye out for Charm Farmers, who are taking control over the complex just across from them here, near across the main road, I should say. So like right now, I think CF has the better cover technically, though EXO also has control over the adjacent complex here, so they're using that as a base of fire right now to keep the pressure going at FTF, who seems to have gotten Simoy almost down, but he will get revived very quickly there by his teammate. One call now, finally making a move, getting into the safe zone. They want to try to secure the swords quickly, but Archangel Predator now wants to try to gatekeep them, with Evil Patrick sending some shots there with the Mini 14.
And fighting Pusher along the way as well. So one call now, knowing where Archangel Predator might be at, but EXO in the same time trying to get rid of the resistance of FTF. Simoy, yeah, he's in a world of hurt, getting calmed down first, but that means he's attracted the rest of EXO. He's gonna get flashed from behind, not completely blinded, but EXO should be able to find it with this pincer maneuver and just fire him to the grave. FTF not able to hold on, and EXO continues this entire race, but they still have CF to worry about. And 4 Samurai basically just watching this entire event happen from within the circle. PE also coming in a very spread maneuver, and that's gonna threaten one call.
Yeah, I mean, being spread out like this means that wherever one call sends out utilities is not going to be as effective, and that's why you want to space yourself out anyway in the game of PUBG, right? It's to just avoid being dumpstered by a whole bunch of like frag grenades and molotovs headed towards your squad. Now, GN has found himself in the shack in the middle of nowhere right now, but that's pretty much the safest spot that he could find right now, given that he's all complete solo, and he does peek out occasionally. Ooh, he actually catches a stray shot there, so it looks like someone already has him quite pinned down. And speaking of pinned down, Pentados now trying to keep ONC pinned. They already have Pusher it down here, but they were trying to return onto Namxiao, not able to land any of the hits there. And it seems that they're also receiving fire from an opposite side here. So they're actually receiving fire from Archangel as well. So they are getting pounded by just every single one. But look at that, this Trick is still able to put out kills there to try to stabilize the situation. That actually gets an elimination onto PE. In the meantime, EXO Clan gets the kills done on the Charm Farmers. Looks like they have already taken out Charm Farmers in 6th place and will be able to make their way to the safe zone now. What is Gas Cans up to? What is PE up to right now? Namxiao and J18 is now down, and Trick picks up his 5th kill now by taking out CJ18, and looks like they have quite successfully actually taken the fight straight to Pintados Esports.
Yeah, Trick saving his team literally. They only lost 1 member, but Trick did so much work that they were able to keep Nanduje alive, and now those smoke grenades, it's gonna obscure the line of sight of Kaio. He will not be able to do anything, and if one call wants to evacuate right now with the vehicles, they can certainly do that and leave Kaio out to dry. It's probably a good thing to do right now because they gotta get into the circle, but Kaio! Finds 2 of them! Not able to get any finisher, but that is going to drag ONC just for a bit. Jexy now needs to bring his teammates back up. Evil Patrick, he knows that this is happening, but he won't be able to find a good line of sight to get the finisher. One call surviving by the skin of the teeth.
I'm just surprised that AAP did not decide to try to capitalize on this, because Trick, one ONC is just very low. Look at the Trick getting taken down there by Squeakita. So if anything, EXO is actually stealing the kills that AAP could have actually taken here, which is actually kind of sad really, because this was a huge opportunity for them, and now ONC is just getting themselves completely taken out right now. No one is left, so they'll be out in 4th place. So 3 teams still remain. We got EXO Clan still with 3 members plus 1 currently knocked down. AAP has 4 members. They're quite spread out. They're 2 for 2 here on the circle at this point. Nan and Evil Patrick, as well as Agent Bots and Alec. Then we got Gas Cans, of course, still having a full stack. Want to see whether or not they'll be able to continue their onslaught here, because frankly, they are the team that really should be paid attention to, because they're still, you know, in spite of everything, very much one of the most consistent, as well as a team that currently has the biggest lead out of everyone else.
And they continue to build on that lead as well. I mean, one of the closest team to catching up to them is definitely Archangel Predator. But when we check out, kind of the kills for the teams, 9 kills for EXO. MT needs some time to bring his health back up. Of course, for Tsukida, he also spotted by the members of Gascan. And of course, if you're wondering where's the scoreboard on the left, we are experiencing a bit of a technical issue with that. Just to keep you guys up to date, we have, these 3 teams so far having a fantastic run. EXO, biggest surprise, right? Day 1, no show. But day 2, EXO has been really stepping out to the plate. Aljin Boss, you gotta land those shots onto gas cans. That's one of the teams that you cannot afford to miss any shots.
Yeah, if everyone knows exactly where Gascans is, you can guarantee that both EXO and Archangel would just hound that one team alone, because they know at least taking them out means that there's going to be a bigger chance for both. Especially for Archangel, like the bigger chance for them to catch up to Gascans here. But nevertheless, they are playing it very safe on their side here, just not really choosing to move out of the way. But conversely, EXO very bravely maneuvers their cars. 2 people there, Goose as well as Kang, now trying to go for the flank on the Greg shot, forcing him out of his shack. They could get him down now. They will take him out completely. So Gascan is now down the tree. Goose has already sending out flashbangs there, trying to disrupt the Nikos as well as Ikamukao, but they're not quite taking the bait here. But the thing is, the EXO clan with that one swift move has now actually put Gascans on the defensive here, and M is just putting shots. So his agent bots, they're just picking them off one by one.
And that's a scenario that, both teams will be very happy about. But EXO, they turn their attention over to Archangel Predator. They want to get rid of gas cans on their own. Stay out of business, they say. And Archangel Predator sets up those trail of smoke grenades. Make sure that EXO doesn't see them. And EXO Clan still has a wide coverage of the area. They have people pinning down gas cans. They have members pinning down Archangel Predator. And these individual fights becomes very, very important for EXO Clan to win. And so far, they are doing a fantastic job. Goose now exchange fire with Evil Patrick. And actually able to send Evil Patrick into a defensive position. But they just lost empty to Nico. And Gascans now will find a bit more space. They're running uphill. Gascans instantly pulling the trigger, but they're getting suppressed by AAP from afar as well. Those smoke grenades need to come out as fast as possible. Can't get shot off the vehicle. Luke doing a fantastic job. And Kikamukao will now run on forward with the cover of the smoke. Nico gets down. Can they extract him? No, they cannot. Luke gets shot. And Aljin Boss finishes off the last of Gascans. It's down to EXO Clan and AAP.
EXO Clan has 1 member down, and MT is down as well. Squeaky almost gets taken out, but he's already putting point on the Evil Patrick. And I think Alec actually picked up the last kill there, or rather Nan actually picked up the last kill on the Squeaky and that pretty much ended the run there for EXO Clan. AAP pretty much taking the winner chicken dinner, and man, wow, again, the 3-way battle there just reminds me of this old adage that, the enemy of my enemy is still my enemy here. So even though like both teams kind of tried to gank onto gas cans at the same time, but they're just really still outgunning each other here. So wow, again, very chaotic, still a rather chaotic like final circle here, though it still pales in comparison to the amount of fights we saw in the middle here in phase 3 and 4. And man, again, I'm just really curious to see where all the points are stacked now, because Archangel Predator had seemed to have dropped off when you look at the last 2 rounds here, but finally in the 3rd round, the last round of Erangel today as it were, they pick up a chicken dinner. So I hope to see that they will be able to at least retake their 2nd spot, or maybe even 3rd spot. Not too sure if they're going to be able to catch up to Gas Can's lead, because they're certainly going to still be able to run away with it even at this point. But nevertheless, though, a good round here for match number 3.
Very, very good one for Archangel Predator, considering how they did have a slow start to the day, and they're very accident prone. And I'm talking about you, Alec. Improve that driving skill a bit. End of the day, AAP still cementing themselves as one of this, kind of the pack leader from the PH region. This chicken dinner is going to put them in a very, very comfortable spot. Not enough to catch up to Gas Cans though. Gas Cans still have a considerable lead, but it does keep Archangel Predator in the race to first. Again, EXO clan, I think that is the biggest surprise in a good way. They have had very decent rounds for the past 3 matches. They got into top 4. They didn't get chicken dinners, but the points that they got along the way, I think is really going to give EXO such a big boost. And considering that we've the first 3 maps on Erangel, and EXO has been consistent with that, I think moving into Miramar, now we just have to see if they can also work on that Miramar map to keep this going.
Yeah, and just for context as well, after yesterday's 5 rounds, EXO was 15th place overall of 16. So the fact that they've made such a huge comeback on day number 2 just tells me that, wow, this team really had taken a lot of lessons from yesterday itself, and it just goes to show that for even the other teams as well who are still struggling in this competition, there still may be a chance for them to come back. They just need to be able to put things together and actually pull off good consistent plays anytime during this week, and it could quite quickly find themselves back into contention here. But gotta say, still a lot of things to talk about this round that I don't think really have enough time to cover it all. But I just would love to say that things are looking a lot more closer now than it was yesterday itself. I mean, we're seeing so many very close battles, a lot of really standout moments, from every individual players, or rather every individual squad has their own memorable and standout moments here. So it just feels like this Challenge Rumble is finally coming to full swing, and it just couldn't have happened in a better time right now, because there's still plenty of days to go in this Challenge Rumble, isn't it? Nevertheless, EXO Clan, of course, picking up rather they are in rank 1 here with 17 points, but they're still tied up with AAP, who met Archangel Predators, who picked up the chicken dinner. So 17 is pretty much the best they could do here. 1 call, picking out 13, which puts them 1 point ahead of Pintados. So overall, not a bad round here for a lot of these squads who tend to be a bit middling, but for EXO especially, this is a significant comeback, I've got to say.
You can say the same for 1 call, continuing that string of good performance. Pintados also stepping up. Gas cans again, 9 total points, good enough considering that the spot that they were in. Panic Esports, definitely a better round compared to the first 2, but it's on Erangel, right? This was the map that they just had overall better performance on compared to Miramar, and they were not able to really make full use of it like what we thought they would. So 6 points, I think it's definitely underwhelming for Panic. But for the rest of the leaderboard, I think this is, kind of what we've been seeing from day one. Maybe just Tanix and 4 Samurais falling off early in this round. But for the other teams, they're almost in the place that they should be, with EXO being kind of the outlier in a good way.
Yeah, in the best possible way, really. So, although the campaign is still keeps them a little bit shy of getting into that first page, but nevertheless, being best of the rest right now is probably a way better honor for EXO compared to 15th place. So I expect they'll still be happy about it regardless. But Gas Cans 6 points away from hitting the big 100. So I mean, what else can you say about these guys? Again, so consistent in not just placements, but just eliminations alone already is putting them so far ahead of a lot of teams here. ONC able to take the 2nd spot here in 77. AAP managed to upgrade themselves to 3rd place, so okay, not bad. At least my mathematics still checks out here. The FTF still in the 4th place right now, but who else will be able to join them in that honor though, because it's still looking very competitive from 5th place to 8th.
Yeah, just to give a bit of a context, the amount of elimination points alone from Gas Cans puts them in 4th place. That is how much eliminations that they've gotten across the 8 rounds. Obviously, for Panic Esports fans, you gotta start worrying a bit because they are slowly dropping. They're tied with 2 other teams. For I believe for 5th or 6th place. So that is gonna be a bit something that I think Panic needs to start working on, because we only have 2 matches left for today, and then afterwards they will have 5 days to prep for the last weekend, which we'll run it back in terms of map rotation. But yeah, these are the recap for the first 3 maps, with EXO Clan coming out top with the chicken dinner in the first Erangel match. The second one taken away from Gas Cans, and the third one by Archangel Predator. Coming up next, we will finish off the day with Miramar for match 4 and 5. But before that, we are going to, rehydrate ourselves, stock up with a bit of water before we hit into the dry desert. So stay tuned. We will come back for more PUBG action in the PUBG Challenger Rumble.
New assault rifle, some balance adjustments to old favorites, and a few terrain changes to Destin. All this and more as we dive into the Update 22.2 patch report. First up, a popular new French assault rifle is hitting the Battlegrounds. The FAMAS is a 5.56 AR capable of single fire, burst, and full auto. You won't find this new weapon among normal loot, however, so check care packages and other special areas where powerful weapons spawn. We're also giving a couple tried and true ARs some balance adjustments, with the AUG, M416, M16, and the Mutant all receiving a few changes. Check out the patch notes for full details on these. Also, with the introduction of the FAMAS, the AUG will now spawn among normal Battlegrounds loot. Destin is also getting a few changes, with the addition of several hills between Barcliff and Tarita, to aid players making the long and perilous trek. There's also a new dirt track south of San Carno, to break up sightlines a bit and add some more interesting flavor to that area. And since the PUBG 6th anniversary is fast approaching, we're also putting up some festive decorations around Erangel, Miramar, and Sanak. We've also updated the Hall of Fame on Erangel with special items to commemorate the PGC 2022 winners, so check it out on your next drop. That's it for this quick update. But as always, you can find all the details on these changes and more in the official patch notes. Update 22.2 is here, so find yourself a new FAMAS, and get ready to celebrate the glorious 6th anniversary of PUBG. We'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
the latest game from Krafton and 5min Lab. Fast pace and full intense PvP action brawler game. Use your best combo to send your opponent to the lobby. Select your legends and be the winner. Pick the mode that suits your fighting style, from 1v1, 2v2 to Battle Royale. Available to download and play free on Play Store, App Store and Steam. Let's be legends today!
Day number 2, we just finished all the Erangel maps, and we have pretty interesting day. Some teams are really stepping up to the plate. My name is Husky. Alongside me is Victor. We're back to continue the rest of the day with more PUBG action. And this time, I hope you've gotten enough water because we're heading over to Miramar.
Yeah, I've certainly have refilled myself very much, rehydrated, thank you. But yeah, now it's time to go to the dry deserts of Miramar. So we say goodbye to Erangel, at least for now, because again, you're still going to have more Erangel matches for the rest of the week. But I digress though. This is going to be a couple of very important rounds over Miramar, I must add, because even though gas cans have already built up a very mammoth lead right now in day number 2, I think when you look at everyone else, I mean, we're looking at teams just separated by 1 point, 2 points at most, and really, it just goes to show that despite the fact that gas cans has been running away from the competition, the competitiveness from second place onwards is still highly strong, and I think there's still not quite it's not quite determined yet. I think, especially given this still very early phase of the Challenger Rumble, it's not quite set in stone yet who's going to be the definitive top 4. So I think that's still very much up for grabs right now, especially from second to 4th place, and hopefully as well, maybe like with a change of environment, a change of scenario here, maybe some teams might be able to catch up to gas cans in particular. And I say that because like there are some teams who very demonstrably have stronger results when it comes to Miramar compared to Erangel.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw yesterday when we look at maps like Miramar, just a lot of teams were facing the issue of making rotations and getting caught out. I think it was very prevalent, and it did affect some of these teams. Panic Esports being one of the more prevalent one. Teams like APH, they also were not really having a good time, and teams that generally like to take up strategic points early on, like I think 4 Samurais and even Gascas, had a better showing on Miramar. Hopefully that changes, because I think we have seen some really great performances from all these squads, and you kind of just really need to clean up the rough edges. So for map number 4 and 5, we're going to be on Miramar, and that is going to give us a good idea of where these teams stand. And considering how the circle hasn't been the kindest to everyone, we'll see if that's going to be the case. This flight path definitely is going to be a more brutal one. Very southbound. So it leaves a lot of those major areas on the map fairly open to the squads to take. But again, everything gets dictated by where the circle starts and ends.
I'm going to curious to see who actually decides to take the jump onto Los Leones there. But yeah, this like flight path is very biased towards the coastal area here, so that means there's still a lot of land for the picking, especially for the team that decides to make their way to El Pozo. But that, again, it also depends on where likely this next circle is going to be. But you can't really predict that, actually, when it comes to the flight path. It seems like both of those are mutually exclusive really in terms of like where to place versus where the circle is going to end up. So again, the team's just going to have to choose very carefully, or rather very decisively, where they want to land and how they want to get started on their farming here, and then just see where the wheels of fate turn as far as this next circle is going to come. So flight path should be about ending right now. We're seeing plenty of teams just deciding to take a more northwards kind of like direction, which is understandable given the circumstances here, but no one's really going for that very far off northern side at the moment. So let's see where this next circle is going to land. In fact, look at this here, a bit of a hot drop situation going on with Starlight as well as 4Piggies. So now that circle ends up on the northern side. So that was going to be good news for like maybe 40% of these squads, but the others, especially the ones who landed onto Los Leones, especially for Starlight and 4Piggies here, this is going to be a bit of a tense one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is a kind of circle this time. There's complete dry land. 4Piggies, though, have basically secured majority of the compound, so I think that this would most likely prompt Starlight to start moving, unless you kind of isolate the members of 4Piggies. Highly unlikely to be the case right now. Miramar is one of those maps that you generally just want to take it slow early on. It's just not worth it running the early conflicts. The most important thing is just to find those vehicles so that it allows you to traverse the terrain. It's more important to have vehicles than anything else. You can see the Starlight, they are slowly just making sure that they pull away from that initial place, initial town. Just give it away to 4Piggies.
Good thing about Miramar is that like their complexes tend to have a lot of like urban environments, so that both gives you like as a player like lots of options when it comes to finding cover, but it also at the same time gives you a lot of like opportunities to farm. So I would expect like both 4Piggies and SL will more than likely just do a lot of farming at first instead of like trying to hunt each other down. I mean, given the way that they kind of hot job each other, they expect that we're going to get in the fight anyway, so they might as well just use this time wisely to just get themselves the best possible equipment, and then eventually once the blue zone is going to start creeping in, and then only try to confront them for a fight. But at least Starlight has already set up themselves up to have a bit of an escaped plan, because having secured that vehicle early on means that even if the things start to go south for them against 4Piggies, they still at least have a plan B, and that's going to be very important here for Starlight.
Definitely. Judging by how Starlight is moving, I think they will be able to cover a lot of that ground. Basically splitting out right now, and 4Piggy not looking to move away anytime soon. In fact, Starlight able to gain a bit of that priority on the high ground. One call incredibly spread out, but this definitely allows them to cover a big chunk of that space. And just look at this distribution of one call. You gotta love it. Exo Squad, on the other hand, also being able to basically scavenge a lot of these empty areas. It's kind of those classic Miramar start. You don't really see much fights happening early on. It is the biggest map after all. And teams like APH just doing the same modus operandi. They are already starting these early rotations. It's across the desert, trying to find their way into the circle as early as possible.
Yeah, again, Miramar a lot more spread out and like very wide open compared to Erangel. So getting vehicles is not only a must, but it's absolutely mandatory, really, if your team is prioritizing mobility here. Looks like it might be a bit of an encounter here, but both CF as well as APH are running concurrent to each other. A Groza rifle and an 8X scope. That's going to be quite valuable, actually, the scope in that little supply crate here, which is close to where Pintados is. And I wonder if they're going to be making a move for that, because they don't seem to be under pressure at the moment. And looks like Starlight has decided to pack up the bags and start going camping right now, because they're moving away from the complex. Didn't really get into an encounter with 4Piggies, which I guess it's good news for the 4Piggies, meaning that they can continue to like just rest on their laurels a little bit in this early phase here. APH just going to be passing by close to where Pintados is, but look, it's actually knocking on their backyard here. Starlight actually makes their way to where Silent Namxiao is, and it seems like they're also taking some fire from the other side, which I expect is probably coming from Charm Farmers, because they were just Charm Farmers because they were close by to where APH is. Now Silent actually gets in the car right now, and Hachi is going to be putting some shots onto the truck, which is getting a little bit held up there by the unevenness of the terrain, and Silent actually catches a couple of shots due to that. A couple more hits there. Is that going to be a result of a knockdown? Doesn't look like that. But in the meantime, one call actually catches a couple of members of Chicha Gaming who actually went to scout out down by the road and got themselves caught up in an ambush.
And just very, very unfortunate opening for Chicha Gaming. They lost 2 members to one call who is absolutely on the road today. Thankfully, they got to extract the remaining 2 members. AAP, in the meantime, also, I think, drawing a bit of attention, but not staying around for too long, as they themselves are also making that early move in. Actually able to find a decent spot to be at least for now. Pintados getting a good complex across the freeway will be Charm Farmers. Not much exchange there. APH having the scope basically lined up in where Starlight would be. So seeing it slow down a bit this game. When you have kind of those least dangerous circles, definitely get teams who are more willing to take up space on the map. And try them from afar. Tanex, in the meantime, basically behind them on that high ground. So it's going to be a looting game. We get a bit more room to breathe, in this opener.
Tanex is going to be one team to really watch out here at Miramar because, mind you, in day number 1, they placed 3rd place, 4th place, and 2nd place in all 3 Miramar rounds. They're extremely proficient at this map here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they will use this as a jumping off point to actually start collecting kills against the other squads here. But really, I want to also see what other teams are going to be able to step up the plate here now we're off of Erangel. It seems like Rems is getting himself caught in a little bit of a fight right now. Gascan's now trying their very best to fight back against APH here, but Rams, he got his car sideways. His car is sideways right now, and I don't know if he's able to get it down on the ground. Yeah, okay, finally he does get it back on all 4 wheels, but that could be a close one there. Yukamuka only just peeks off a little bit off the top of the hill there, but that could have been a really bad one there for APH.
Yeah, definitely could have been way, way worse. APH has not had a good day so far. Just all these we're sharing drop spot with Chicha Gaming in Erangel, and even then, that mid game has been very, very brutal to this team. So APH able to survive the initial, the initial skirmish. AAP continuing that rotation through the blue, and completely uncontested. Honestly, up to this point, I think most teams have found a comfortable spot to anchor down, and AAP, they're still looking for theirs.
Yeah,
I do wonder where the rest of Chicha Gaming are, though, considering that they are the only team that has lost 2 of their members, but everyone else is pretty much same. I mean, AAP continue to cut through those big towns, those major towns.
I mean, I expect Chicha Gamers to basically make themselves very, very scarce right now because, again, having 2 members eliminated very early on is definitely going to have an effect on their progress in this round here. I mean, it basically has 2 less, you want to think about it, there's 2, not just 2, but like 6 less slots when it comes to utilities, right? That can be used at any given time. So really, they're going to be struggling to just kind of make the most out of like whatever utilities they're able to collect, and just the utilization of it even is going to be hampered by just the lack of manpower, really. So Trident is now approaching close to where PNC's position is here, and that's looking like a very tight spot here that PNC might be find themselves in again, because Trident has the high ground here, and that will allow them to have a good view.
And look at this, just very, very dense and populated spot. Almost all the teams have already made it in. This is, despite it being a more tame circle, we are seeing so much of these teams just scrambling to get as much control as they can in their safe zone, so they do not have to face the risk of getting gate kept. Might expect a lot of skirmish happening pretty soon on the side. For Samurai, definitely being gate capped a bit by APH, so that's going to be a skirmish to watch out for. On call so far uncontested, just being a bit slower for for this team. And honestly, if you're on call, you're not too worried. Not too worried. Can't say the same for 4Piggy though. They have incurred the wrath of PNC, and look at that, suspects just finding that angle to really put pressure onto Fleaways, barely able to at least keep him in check. But Gascan, Luke 12 have already found GN from 4 Samurais. I think all these skirmishes are gonna start breaking up pretty soon.
Yeah. Now we're seeing what TNX is up to, so as Starlight as well, as we peek over the horizon here to see that the Pintados is actually close by in this outer complex, and we also see gas cans conversely on the hillside there, actually giving them a good overwatch over 3 squads in a row here. Now PNC is making their way along the edge of this circle right now to find another complex here. This is like a very sweet spot actually to set up camp and actually find some good loot. In the meantime though, I mean, again, I just want to see what happens with some of the other squads here. Okay, yeah, Exo Clan now is moving up the hill against from the future. We got Simoy and KDR already taking a very forward position compared to the other 2 teammates. But this could give Exo Clan actually the element of surprise here if they can actually catch up KDR, because they're not actually facing their direction. In fact, KDR will get caught out there by Squidkita, and now they realize they're under siege here. Squidkita immediately sending out a Molotov. That should finish off KDR very quickly. Now they just need to try to flush out Simoy, but Simoy already picks up a vehicle and runs away there, leaving KDR to burn away in the dust.
And just making it as clean as possible. No need to contest anything much, honestly. I mean, for FTF, the fact that they have already lost kind of that recon is that they have to kind of slow down a bit on the side of FTF. Exo just walks away with a freebie. Gotta love this opening. Exo continuing to show up with all this discipline that we were, wanting to see yesterday.
Now Trident, what are they up to here? It seems like Jam was exploring this complex over here, or rather they might be keeping an eye on gas cans, which I think are on the complex on the far side of this valley over here. So Trident is now trying to keep an eye out of them while keeping themselves spread out. The map situation at this point here seems to be centering that circle around the water treatment area, so not quite enough high ground except for where FTF is actually in place at the moment. Aurora at this point is already moving in from the south side and actually might bump into Samurai at 4 Samurais at this point. Starlight continuing to actually put fire onto FTF, so FTF is facing gangs from both the eastern as well as the western side, so they have to be very careful about how they use that high ground position, but they seem to love that position right now because it is quite in fact like the highest ground I think in this circle right now. I digress. But yeah, let's see. Gas cans, Luke already picked up a kill into CJ1, so maybe they're already starting to find some of these kills here, Gas can is.
Oh, absolutely. One trick on the other hand. So one call trick on the other hand. You can see that he is going to start rendezvousing with his buddy Nandu J. One call. Staying out of trouble thus far, one of the more quiet rounds. You can't say the same for PNC though. They are going past kind of the checkpoint of CG and Exo Clan, so PNC putting themselves basically in the firing range. A bit of a return fire. High point. Gotta be careful about this. Chicha Gaming can't drive off field. That's where Exo Clan will be. Archangel Predator now. Continuing what was started. PNC can't really control their vehicles. Might be forced to touch down right here. PB dragging attention away. They're gonna find a compound. The return fire from Dusky. Good backup from PNC. Alec goes down. Meanwhile, Ziz trying to fight off Empt, but he also has Squidkita to worry about. Chicha Gaming outnumbered in their own battle. Exo Clan getting rid of the lizards.
Yep, getting rid of it. And look at TNX just running straight into 4 piggies here who are a little bit scrambled trying to figure out like whether they want to run away or fight right now. But Exo Clan chooses to fight. Actually picks up the kill M0. Now they're just suppressing Baby Zio as he tries to pull away in that truck. Manages to get hideaway in the nick of time now. And now MT is going to be taking some shots there from Lolba. In the meantime, what is TNX going to be able to do here? Asba, is he going to be alone here? Yes, he is. as he tries to make his way to the safe zone, taking onto the side of the cliff here. So that's actually a safe way to approach. The thing is, he's got to watch out for FTF because I believe this is actually their hill. So there's already I can see Seymour up on the top there. That's making it a little bit hard for him to actually just go all the way up to the peak of that mountain. Panic in the meantime already setting themselves up in this complex, just right adjacent to where Archangel Predators is, and Pivy might be moving into their field of view very soon. Squeakita still scanning the horizons right now. They've already put down a member of Fleaways, and he's caught out inside the blue zone. Shouldn't be long for this world right now. And Squeakita spots on the horizon more members of 4 Piggies. Hachi now gets the kill to Asiba, so that's going to be the end of 10x for this round here as they go bow out in 15th place. This next circle lands quite literally on top of where ONC is, so FTF might have to move out, but now they're going to find themselves actually quite quickly gate-kept because so not only Starlight is close to them, but you also got gas cans in the way of them as well. But you also got Exo Clan moving in to the safe zone from their side. So I think FTF now, even though they made the gamble on the hill, now they're going to be forced to try to reckon with the amount of forces that are preventing them from getting to this next safe zone.
Yeah, Gascan continuing their rotation. Trident also holding down one of the corners of the circle, just getting a good zone. No teams will be coming in from their general direction, so Trident should be fine, but FTF and Starlight not the same. Both teams trading 1-for-1. TD taking the high ground advantage over 9. Should be able to stop any sort of backup coming in from Starlight. 9 needs to win this one against TD, and TD ends up winning instead. FTF holding the fort, but Haji is coming in for the pincer. Solution PH also basically multiple angles that FTF need to pay attention to. 9 and Hayase has been eliminated. Starlight looking for any sort of constellation prize, but ends up getting pinned by Kaio instead. Solution tries to get away, but Kaio finds him and tags him before he could do anything. Hachi downs TD. Can you at least get a couple of elimination points? Yes, he can. TD goes out first before Kaio cleans up Starlight.
Yep. Taking into the car now is going to see one Mori as we see him try to surf along with this the blue zone together with Kang, but Kang is vehicleless. So he's attempting to just catch up to where Seymour is, but doesn't really have an opening to try to spray him down. Squeakita does somewhat, but then unfortunately Seymour ducks away through the dunes just in the nick of time there. So it looks like he will be safe all the way to the safe zone. And Exo Clan, in fact, are receiving fire now coming from Panic, as well as gas cans here. But gas cans already have control over the oil refinery here, and that's going to be a good complex for them to try to maintain a base of fire. Senti caught on the outside there, and I think being sniped like that, I don't think he's going to be long for this world, unfortunately. Well, Pintados Esports now takes out to the top of the hill here. CJ actually gets his truck completely smoked out right now, as Squeakita was able to put a good spray down onto him. But CJ may be running himself quite into the middle of a firefight here between Panic as well as One Call, because that road is not quite clear, my friend. Better kind of like stop in your tracks right now, because it's going to be kind of dangerous, and it looks like they will actually stay in position there and make sure that they scan the area a little bit. But as I say that, Nikos actually moves up onto peak CJ18 now to put the fire onto them, and that makes it a little bit hard for them now. But they do get a knockdown. They do get knockdowns from both Nico as well as Yikika Mukau, and Greg Shot is left out and lurched there, trying to send out grenades but not able to land any. But grenades coming from the other side actually takes him down. Greg Shot finally takes up both CJ and Silent in order to take revenge for them knocking down his teammates, but they're not quite out of the woods though, because PNC and Exo Clan are still up on the high ground. They're still able to put some fire down to them, but I think PNC now is just focused on trying to see what other squads can we try to target this time around.
Gas cans might have won that fight, but can they win the war? They are suffering so much damage, and Goose, attention on to gas cans. Squeakita showing up, and gas cans might meet an early demise in this round. Greg Shaws is down. Ikikamukao not long for the world. Gas cans out in 10th place. Just an unlucky spot to be in. But Cherry comes in for the pickup. A nade onto empty. And Exo receiving a bit of that backstab treatment from Panic. Goose, last man alive for the team.
Yeah, it's a good couple shots there from Goose, but it's really trying to salvage what situation this is right now because both MT and Squeaky are already down, so it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get themselves out of the situation here. In fact, look at that, Charm Farmer is also moving up here, though Invis is going to be catching a stray shot, so they look like they're not quite in the clear there. So I think that's going to be 4 Samurais as well as one call, just firing upon them, spotting across the hill, and that's actually given the space now for Goose to peel away from that fight there. So it actually worked out in Exo Clan's favor here. Now, Goose is still going to try to find a good place to hold position here. He's going to land right where MT is, so maybe he wants to try to go for the revive here while he still can. And one call is putting the pressure on the Panic to such a point that they're actually huddled up inside this one gas station building, and that's making it a little bit hard for them to actually figure out any information because there's not a lot of windows here, mind you. Only a single window on one side of the building, so they don't really have any other information other than the fact that one call is hounding and pounding onto them.
Yeah, it's be a tough one. EXO, can they retrieve and gotta at least extract this guy? They need to buy some time though. Smoke grenades getting thrown out just to buy space. But Charm Farmers, they are inching forward very, very quickly. Invis, he is making sure that the constant suppressing fire is put onto EXO Clan just so that you make them feel uneasy. And this circle closing in, it's not going to make it any easier for EXO Clan either way. MT brought back up, healed up as well. He's setting up those smokes, and MT is going to take the point in the open area just to make sure that those the runway is clear. And Invis is doing the same. Multiple flash getting thrown out. So Akita, he's going to be ready to receive both Invis and Ryu. No knockdowns just yet, but they're doing a fantastic job because Charm Farmers, they have the high ground. Ryu gets down by the blue zone. EXO, you gotta start running through and taking these fights, and they're actually winning out. Hugh Hexy, the last one alive, downs Goose, brings it to a 1 versus 1. Can Charm Farmers at least keep themselves longer in the smash? Hugh Hexy needs to take a bit of time to heal himself back up. It's Squeakita, he's pushing on forward. The elevation in Hugh Hexy's favor just now. Squeakita doesn't see him, and in fact, Hugh Hexy is going to be able to secure the kill. Squeakita coming in from the low ground. Hugh Hexy, you might not be ready for this, and Squeakita has a good opportunity, but just not able to find the opening.
Yeah, he's a Huxi. Well, I mean, being so far away means that he was safer compared to everyone else, but now he's finding himself in the toughest spot here because the blue wall is against his back, and Squeakita is just covering his front right now. So he has to try to either peel away from this or get the jump onto Squeakita very quickly here. He has to either play aggressive or kind of run away here because the longer he stays out here, the worse off it's going to be for him. Conversely, Trident has made their way up southwards, and they're going to be running into Archangel Predator, who, mind you, doesn't have a lot of cover in this area here, but Trident's not going to be able to make full use of the high ground here at the moment because they just have no beat line of sight onto where Archangel Predator's positions are. And Archangel Predator in the meantime is just suppressing Jam at the moment, so he's not able to come out of that area. And Snow and Blessed Milla, they need to try to rescue him from this situation here. In the meantime, Panic's still stuck in their room. Squeakita still going to be turning around there. Actually, going to try to face off against PNC here, and that's actually given a bit of space now for 4 Piggies to try to move past. I say that just as Lowball gets himself knocked down, so is Baby Zoo, and 4 Piggies are taken out in 7th place. Right now, Snow is taking a lot under fire right now. He's the last member standing on Trident. Somehow, they've lost this fight against Archangel Predator, and Milla now will get finished off here from a few rapid shots from the Mini 14, and things are rapidly falling apart now for Trident here. Snow is the last member apparently standing here, especially now that Jam has been taken out. He is quite literally Trident's last hope.
Absolutely, and Panic in the meantime will have to receive a hit from ONC. And in fact, they might have to push into ONC thanks because of the circle. Not too much room to wriggle around if you are Panic, but the good news is that ONC are very spread thin. You just gotta start taking them out. And in fact, the last round, one call was the one that really completely destroy PNC with just how systematic they were. Just trying to eastward gets eliminated by AAP, so now we get the top 4 teams, everyone having the full squad except for 4 Samurai. Can Panic get the revenge onto ONC? It's not going to be easy because 4 Samurai also has them pinned down. Jexi, though, the first one getting down by Suspect. A good opening for Panic, but they are just getting relentlessly suppressed, not just by ONC, but 4 Samurai and AAP have their eyes on Panic, and that is why they're setting up all these flashes and smoke, just so they could find a better cover to move on forward. But Archangel Predator is also causing some problems for ONC.
Archangel Predator is just keeping this battle at arm's length, and I think they're using that as part of their strategy to try to make a play for placement rather than elimination points. Just let the other squads fight out in that urban environment. It's going to be a messy fight anyway, but they got to watch out for 4 Samurai, who is actually putting a lot of pressure on the Elgin bots right now, forcing him to whip out his health kit here. Trick now in a very, very protracted firefight inside this warehouse. Grenade coming out there, almost taking him down.
Okay.
19 health here, but Cherry is still able to hold his own in this fight. Now linking up with the rest of the team, he gets a kill straight away, and 0-1 call will be taken out in 4th place. So 3 teams still remain. PNC now needs to get themselves back up because they have only sustained knockdowns, no eliminations on their end, so they're still good to go as soon as they get their healths back up to speed.
The good news for PNC is that Archangel Predator, they got the knockdowns, but they don't have the line of sight to get the finisher. So PNC have some time to bring the fallen members back up, while Archangel Predator is preoccupied by 4 Samurai's Fatty, literally in the fire, trying to get away from AAP. The timing a bit wrong, a bit off of Fatty. He tries to pull out the frag, but Elgin Boss just pushes him and gets that knockdown. 4 Samurais left with just GN. Still living in that compound. PNC have gotten enough space to bring the rest of the members back up, and they do have a space to keep them safe, but they do not have the circle with them. And look at Cherry, he's just tossing out, he's setting up an entire trail of smoke grenades so that he can run through it and make it to the next checkpoint. And his entire team behind him, they gotta run through the smoke right now. Evil Patrick has a good view of them. They're dipping in and out of the shadows. Dusky not going down. Suspects also surviving. Cherry making it into cover. Pivy split from the rest of his team. But most importantly is that PNC gets just a bit closer to the circle.
Smoke, I don't know if that actually gives them enough coverage though, because it seems like they were still able, AAP is still able to snipe quite effectively on them. Now, granted, they didn't manage to get any knockdowns, so I guess credit to that. PNC managed to make that maneuver work out for them, but now they've already got themselves here. What can they do from this point on? Because AAP still has control over the ridge line.
Wow.
And that's given them so much field of view. Nan getting a good kill onto PV though, and then now Suspect trying to return fire, so AAP is still sustaining some casualties somewhat, but it's very much a very dangerous game of whack-a-mole right now, with the moles popping up over the horizon right now, representing a huge amount of danger for PNC. But look at where Suspect is going up. They're going to go up, trying to take one down, and 4 Samurais get themselves caught up in the mix there, and actually gets taken down. Gets take down a couple of them. Oh, and AAP unfortunately getting completely run over right now. But PNC who managed to get themselves up under the ridge line right now. Only one member remains. That's Elgin Boss right here. Cherry finishing off the other members, make sure no revives are going to be on the cards here for AAP. Elgin Boss still on the other side of the ridge, only having a single rock for cover. And PNC, they did burn out a lot of their smoke grenades. Do they still have any flashes or molotovs? Because that will be very handy right about now.
Elgin Bot just down Cherry, bringing PNC down to 2 standing members. Molly's getting tossed up by Dusky. He really wants to flush this last guy from AAP out, forcing him a bit far away from the initial rock that he's at, but there's still a bit of cover. The flash also getting thrown out. Elgin Boss flush to the right side. He also has a couple of his utilities, one more smoke and a molly to work with as Dusky gets rid of Nan. PNC having the numbers advantage. This looks like PNC's game to lose. AAP having 12 eliminations already. This round is already incredibly solid. Elgin Boss still has decent space to work with, and PNC are starting to work that open ground. Suspect and Dusky together. Dusky with a jump peak. Not seeing Elgin Boss, so can kind of confirm that he is still behind the body of rock. It's up to how PNC wants to push the Suspects. Is going to be checking on that northern area with Dusky continuing this jump pick maneuver. Elgin Boss keeping very quiet, but remember, this guy only has one more molly left, and an M416 for that close range. Not going to be easy for them to, for him to take on this 1v2. You gotta find those isolated fights.
And the problem is that his helmet as well as body armor are already pinged all the way down, so he doesn't really have a lot of staying power really, should both Suspect and Dusky actually gang up onto him at once. So he's really banking on trying to burn out their utilities as much as they can. The final circle comes up right in the middle of, like, quite literally in the middle of this fight here. So either way, once the timer runs out, they're going to have to run out and actually see who's going to be the one to take to take the chicken dinner. For Elgin Bots, he needs to get a pick off, like straight right off the bat. He needs to knock down either Dusky or Suspect in order to have a chance to win it out. So this is a very tense clutch moment here. Could be the best one yet from Archangel Predator, but it all rests on the shoulders of Elgin Bots right now. So he is the man who's going to have to pull off this one massive play here.
Phase number 9 has just commenced. PNC taking the slow and methodical. No need to rush this. They do have the numbers advantage. I mean, the circle is going to force them into the center, but PNC knowing exactly what to do, keeping their members spread out, so you can have that crossfire. And Elgin Bots is only going to have one last rock to work with when the circle closes in, whereas PNC has 2 of them. And honestly, Elgin Bots will be forced into the open very soon. And Dusky, yeah, he's able to grab another smoke grenade. 6 of it. So much utilities for PNC to work with. Elgin Bot, you can't really say the same for him. The flash getting thrown out as well to start it off. And PNC, I mean, this is definitely going to be incredibly targeted. They forced out the last volley from Elgin Bots. He's trying to flush PNC from behind the tree, and they're not even there. And Elgin Bots, he has lost everything. No more utilities to work with, only a couple of medkits, and PNC knows that this should be it. Their best round yet today. Elgin Bot tosses out the flash. Guess what? Suspect goes down. Elgin Bots! Oh my goodness, the Predator wins! An incredible hold towards the very end. And you do not doubt this man, Archangel Predator. Another chicken dinner to close out this match. What a hold towards the end. An incredible, just absolute heartbreak for Panic.
What did I tell you? Like, he needed to get that knockdown. He found that knockdown just in the final moments, in split seconds. That's how things fell apart there for Panic. And it looked like it was going to be their round to win even. So, wow, that was amazing there. I mean, again, cannot stress how much of a corner that Elgin Bots was painted into in that final round there. I mean, not only didn't really have any utilities there, he did have health, but he didn't really have a lot of armor left behind. And that shot that actually put him down to half health was already put him under massive pressure. The fact he was still able to get the kill and clutch out the chicken dinner in the end, that's just a cherry on top there. Definitely one of the best highlights we've seen so far from Archangel Predators.
Yeah, I mean, Panic just dropping the ball towards the very end. It's not the first time we've seen something like this, but you really got to feel for Panic. Today has not been that day for them. This is definitely their best round so far. Their best match out of the 4 that we have had. But I mean, that final push, just starting with that minor pop flash from Elgin Bots and just a good swing from the right. Panic just not able to capitalize on it. I mean, Archangel Predator, I believe this is the second chicken dinner that they got for today. Massive boost considering how gas cans were not able to get too much done in match 4.
Yeah, so again, the thing is that with all the chaos that happened early on, I mean, again, like one of the bigger disappointments for me was that to see the 10X wasn't really able to capitalize this round here. I mean, again, I just want to question kind of like what happened there, because it feels like they were possibly one of the teams to watch out for in Miramar, but just kind of fell flat here in day number 2. And I mean, I guess there's still another round to go here, but then again, the way that they played here is like it just kind of feels like they haven't lived up to that potential quite yet, and still in that middling sort of like position where they're not quite good enough to get in that top 4, but still better than like a lot of the majority of the competitors here. So yeah, it's just kind of that weird sort of catch-22 that the teams can sometimes find themselves in whenever you're talking about a highly competitive game like PUBG. But nevertheless, though, Archangel Predator, their inconsistency, I think, like in yesterday was what kind of like kept them from being able to keep up with gas cans as far as their points go. But at least these few inspired plays here are constantly reminding all of us here that they are still a threat, to be reckoned with. They're still a team that has that's a reason why Archangel is such a legendary brand here in this region. It's simply because when time comes, when push comes to shove, sometimes you can pull off some of the most brilliant plays, the brilliant clutches you have ever seen.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just a monstrous hold towards the very end. You gotta love how Archangel Predator slowly work, and then everything was in their disadvantage up to the very last moment, and they still able. And this is kind of individual prowess you love to see, right? Who can pull off the Herculean heroics when you need them the most? These clutch factors. Archangel Predator deserving of what they've gotten in match number 4. Chicken dinner and 15 eliminations, 25 points to cap it off, and Panic getting 13 out of it. Their best round today. EXO coming in with 11, still consistent from them. 4 Samurais recovering from a match 3 blunder, 1 call doing the same, and obviously Gas Can is only getting 3. But Gas Cans, they have a cushion to work with, so it's not too big of a concern for them.
Yeah, again, like Gas Cans could still have like the middling performance like this and still, I think, have a decent lead. Though I wonder, is this like 9th rank like the lowest we've seen so far from Gas Cans? I mean, I don't know. I hope they're not slacking off too hard though, even though they've already kind of like made a very good case for themselves already yesterday. I mean, it's still going to be a long way in, but look at that. Just one fell swoop. Yeah. 90 points now for AAP. That puts them only 7 points away from Gas Cans. So, if I'm Gas Cans right now, I'll be a little bit sweaty under the collar, not gonna lie.
Even One Call is catching up. One Call is 4 points away from AAP and 11 away from Gas Cans. These 3 teams are locked in a match that can be in a battle that can be decided by just one good round. Panic makes it back onto 4th place after a better performance in match 4, but they are very far away from One Call, who has been absolutely monstrous today.
Indeed, they are. So, with ExoClan as well getting up there. I mean, 10X, I was expecting a lot out of them in this round. The fact they got 0 points in this round here is nothing short of disappointing for me. Starlight as well, like, didn't really feel like, outside of like being involved in a few fights, didn't really feel like that much of a presence in this game, really. So that's how things are standing right now. So finally that gap between Gas Cans and the Archangel Predator has been closed up. So this is shaping up to be now an exciting closing day here, ladies and gentlemen. But we still have time to play. We still have to yet to see how this is all going to shape up here. This Challenge Rumble here is just delivering a lot of like unexpected sort of like results here that, again, as a commentator, I love it. It's like it's always kind of like difficult to commentate a game that's going to be very predictable, but this unpredictability here is certainly making this a very very good game here of PUBG that we're witnessing before us.
Yeah, I really love being able to witness Battle Royale at its finest. I think it is the worst. The worst things that could happen in a Battle Royale is just having this pack leader is so strong that you kind of know who's the winner at the end. I love me some really close matches, and Challenger Rumble has delivered that so far. Sure, we get some front runners. We get some teams like Gas Cans. We get our top 3 Gas Cans, One Call, and Archangel Predator. But the teams that are catching, that are kind of following behind the main pack, is still putting out incredible plays. As close as it can be, and that puts us. It always makes sure that everyone is on edge in a good way. But here we are, last match of the day, last round of Miramar for the weekend. We get a completely different flight path this time from north to south, but panning more towards the western side. So it means we're leaving a lot of space for some of these teams to work with for the northern end. You can see Gas Cans instantly drop towards Power Grid. That's what they've been doing yesterday when the flight path favors them. Not too much of a deviation from both of these teams.
Yeah, not too much, and gas cans being in the middle there, they're just trying to keep their options very open for them because like this is now the point where gas cans finally is starting to feel the pressure, I think, because like with the AAP already taking 3 chicken dinners in total and having closed down the lead, it just goes to show that even though you may start things off very very well, if even we have drop offs, everyone else is going to catch up to you eventually. So now Gascan's going to have to make it work for them. Ooh, look at this circle here. Very teasing, very close to that coast there, but landing right on top of Los Leonas. So that's going to make this a very important battleground now for Samurai as well as FTF, because whoever controls this complex here is going to have a big advantage for the next few circles.
Oh, absolutely. For Samurai, slowly kind of falling off in the later stages of the day, but I think they've still done pretty well overall. I can say the same for Goose, EXO Clan overall. These guys have been phenomenal throughout the entire day, and I think that they have done more than they've collectively achieved in day one. Starlight, they did have a bit of a iffy round, but overall, it's just great to see these teams that suffer major setbacks on day one, kind of showing up on day two, and at least keeping it closer, keeping the leaderboard tighter in the competition.
Yep. So another team that has also been a bit disappointing for me has been APH, because they showed a bit of promise at times on day one, but day two just feels like hasn't, like, outside of like the few fights they've won, but they haven't really experienced the level of success that I kind of expected they might be able to pull off. I don't know. It's maybe I might be reading a little bit too much into things, but then again, the players themselves have like shown moments of brilliance at times, but yeah, just never been able to kind of like put things together in a very satisfying way, I would suppose. But again, given that it's going to be the last round of the day, it's going to be another opportunity really for some of these lower rung teams to just gather a lot more experience. I mean, I say that as if like these guys aren't experienced at all, but what I mean in this context is really just kind of understanding the play styles of the other teams in this competition here, because PUBG, besides being a game about having a lot of knowledge of the sandbox, of a lot of knowledge of the maps here, when it comes to high level of competitive play, the amount of research you're able to do, the amount of information you have about your opponents is so important at this level here, because generally the expectation is that everyone at this level is going to be almost equally skilled. So it's all about knowing the nuances of like the play styles of different teams, and to kind of identify where you kind of can attack them when they're weakest. And APH now is going to be attacked very soon by 4 Piggies, who will be looking to get some good kill points for themselves. They're another squad who have been kind of struggling to be able to keep up with the rest of the competition so far. Maybe this fight here, if it does go their way, might be their ticket.
Yeah, and 4 Piggies slowly kind of pushing APH back into the building. Obviously, those mollies are going to get tossed out. 4 Piggies looking to isolate individual members of APH. Jo and Rams are on the high ground. They're not in position to provide any backup yet, but for 4 Piggies, we have Baby Zio just making sure that he has that long range support ready to go. 4 Piggies essentially having a bit of a man advantage if they decide to storm the building. Jo, he wants to show up to help, but he's getting shot from I believe Archangel Predator from behind, so this makes life even more hard for APH to meaningfully help both Senti and Rudvin. And Freeway is just going to start pushing up forward. Loba and Gob throwing in those utilities. Senti able to get a good, meaningful one onto Freeways, but KDR from the future actually downs Rams, and Loba able to catch Senti in the process with the frag. 2 different fights that APH needs to work with. Gob just turns the corner looking for a knockdown and finds it. Rudvin also falls. APH getting absolutely crushed.
Ooh. That's a brutal one because again, even though Jo was up on the top line there, trying to provide some like Overwatch, now they're gonna have to get down on the ground and get into the gritty here with 4 piggies. But look at Gobs jumping straight out the window, taking out Jo. So that's gonna be 3 in a row now. They're taken out from ABH, and with the final member eliminated, that's gonna be ABH, the first one to be sent out at the end of the day.
Yeah, just APH continuing the slump of yesterday, just not able to do too much. That all these fights that they're not able to really close out and getting pressured by multiple teams. It has been something that has been plaguing them since yesterday. Cheetah Gaming also not having a good time as PNC are showing up. Gotta buy a bit of time to revive that fallen teammate, and they will be able to do so. So far, Panic Esports touching base. Suspect finding Kaipon again. Super Louis, meanwhile, sacrificed the win, and Suspect will get a second knockdown. Chicha Gaming, not much left to work with as the Molly will force them into the corner of the left side. The frag, unfortunately, just a bit off, bouncing off the door frame, but enough to push Chicha Gaming out into the open, and that should allow Suspect to have an easy time cleaning this up. Both Chicha Gaming members are quite low. Pivy finds Eons, and it's down to Z's to keep Chicha Gaming alive.
I wonder if it's really pronounced Z's or exists. Because it would actually make sense if it's pronounced exists, given the way it's spelt. But nevertheless, he's under pressure here. 3 members of Panics now moving up onto his wall side. Suspect will be able to spot him first, takes him down very quickly. So that will be Chicha Gaming eliminated in 15th place here. In the meantime, what is Exo Squad up to? They have sustained a knockdown though. They are able to trade that with Milla, but Jam is still down for the count at the moment. So Trident not exactly looking at the most healthiest here. Who is the last member who is still alive right now? Because Snow, Milla, and Jam are both down. Blessed is on literally the other side, and he's being gate kept very hard by Squeakita as well as a Goose on the other side. And Blessed is now trying to put some shots on the Goose as Goose comes in now to finish off the rest of Trident, and that's going to be a big blow right now to Trident Esports here, especially Blessed is not able to pull things off. He's just barely able to run away there, but looks like he's going to be leaving the rest of his friends in the dust now to kick the bucket, as it were.
EXO getting 3 kills and yeah, just savoring the moment. I like how Goose just decides to punch Snow to death. You're not even worth me unloading my ammunition on you. That's the message sent. Because EXO Clan, they're having a good day. They're having a fun time. And Milla also finished off 3 quick kills for EXO Clan.
I mean, you know,
Starlight in the meantime just crossed that bridge as well onto the northern side, so they are making that rotation. But yeah, so finding another vehicle, just stocking up at the garage with the good muscle cars.
I mean, I'll always pick a drop top any time of day, honestly. But yeah, kind of funny that you'd be using muscle cars in like a valley like this, though. You know, I tend to be a bit back and forth about whether or not Miramar is supposed to be like simulating a sort of like a desert or desert warfare environment, or is it literally just like a representation of like the Midwest in the US, you know? Hence why all the muscle cars and everything, and like the small little gas station towns, you know, all littered all around this map. And speaking of the map right now, where do we stand right now with this circle here? I mean, still blocked around Los Leones, though it seems like the battle between between the 4 samurais as well as From the Future hasn't really concluded in any meaningful way yet, but we don't really see any other teams necessarily making a move to that central location. CF is probably the closest one there. Gas cans in the meantime, very spread out actually, surprisingly so. It seems like they're more prioritizing kind of like keeping a very wide spread and just maybe prioritizing a little bit more on like gathering information and maybe gathering like individual points of farming instead of like moving as a unit. So it's kind of interesting. Though the thing is that with this next circle here, gas cans might actually be onto something here because they have actually a wide area coverage over the top, and there's a bit of a ridge line they can actually use as cover. So maybe they might be banking on the idea that the next circle may not land necessarily around Los Leones. It might actually land closer to their side of the map here, which means that, you know, that might shift the balance of power very much into their favor.
TNX. Meanwhile, also getting fired upon, I believe, by Archangel Predator. Not too much is done though. TNX. You expected more out from them, same as me in the previous round, but of course, unfortunately, they're not able to do too much. Definitely getting a better start this time. And Gascans on the other end, also, I believe Greg Shot just saw TNX moving into their new building, so that's going to give a lot of info over. But Shoehorse actually gets Baby Zeo from afar before P of all people are the ones receiving all these fire from TNX.
Yeah, and in the meantime, for Piggies, not quite out of the woods even, because seems like 10x is keeping themselves in a very decent position there. I mean, a lot of cover certainly, so that kind of negates whatever high ground advantage that for Piggies have. Panics in the meantime taking a high ground against one calls Trick here. Though Trick maybe kind of focuses trying to get a knockdown somewhere if he can get a spray, but I think Privy and Dusky a little bit too far away for any of that to kind of happen in Trick's favor. In fact, they're pulling so far away from him right now that I think his window of opportunity might have just been lost here. TNX also having a little bit of a situation here with Blessed, who flipped his car, and that pretty much is the end of Trident Esports in 14th place there. Blessed, not so blessed this time around, I'm afraid.
Yep, it's kind of those few things that happen. Very unlucky. Well, honestly, we have so much, so many moments that involve vehicle today. Yeah, I thought yesterday we had a lot, but today it was just so much more. The frequency of vehicular accidents has significantly increased. 13 teams left. One call able to move to a very, very good compound by the hillside, covered by the circle just barely, and now they get a good lookout point to really see if there's any passerbys. Unfortunately for them, I don't think any teams will go through that and panic with the job done and circle closing in. Just gonna start moving as well. Obviously, one of their vehicles has really taken decent significant damage, so they are gonna go for the switch. And will find a substitute very quickly as Chumacera, and just crossing into the circle, gate kept by Exoplan, but they should be safe.
Yep. In fact, like they've been keeping themselves out of trouble. So has like gas cans really, and the fact that it is spread out as well kind of like minimizes sort of like the chances for like the whole squad to kind of get bogged down in fights, which may be kind of the play they're going for here. Maybe they're prioritizing more of those placement points rather than doing the sort of like elimination point farming they were doing yesterday itself. But nevertheless, you know, with other squads already having taken control of the oil refinery, that actually makes it a very, very difficult proposition here for gas cans should they want to try to move out of the way and into another area. But I say that just as the next circle kind of lands on 2 members of gas cans, so they could possibly afford to try to take control or maintain control over the northern side of the circle at all times throughout this round here. Greg Shot already making his way out through the fields here, and you can also see 4 Samurais, you know, just using this high ground here in order to try to get a good line of sight over every other squad down below them in the complexes, and that's allowing them to be able to hopefully have a bit more initiative later on when the fights start to break out. But speaking of fights now, I think one is going to be congregating quite close around the entryway of Los Leones right now, because I do see CF, I see Aura as well moving in. FTS is kind of holding position here. Oh, looks like YSA gets caught out though by Man, who just went into one of the buildings here. So I think things are starting to heat up now between both of these squads inside Los Leones, when for the longest time it's just literally been a very quiet siege inside this little, or I say little, but it's quite a big little city.
And FTF now will be receiving a hit from Aurora, who just showed up. TD getting pushed right back by Tragic. This is going to be a very fast push into this factory, this hangar area. TD and Simoy kind of being the first frontier of FTF. Aurora, yeah, finally getting stopped just by a bit, but FTF looking to set up kind of that double stack to have a good crossfire. And Aurora, they're very aware of that. You see Jumbi holding on to his nade, not going to expand it just yet. Does have that flash. Toss over the crate. TD push out very far forward. Does Juice know about this though? It's going to be really crucial. And TD send out this frag, able to just barely push PRDX back. Jumbi also forced to retreat. Holding on to that smoke a bit too long. TD finds the knock onto Juice. Aurora just a bit indecisive on what their movement is going to be, and that means that Juice will get sacrificed.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there. So Aurora, the little assault attempt, kind of like ending up not only empty-handed, I think negative-handed, given they lost a member from there. But then GN actually very patient with his trigger finger there, just keeping his eyes on FTF right now, trying to see whether or not who has kind of won that. I think all indications seem to be that FTF is winning the fight here. So maybe 4S will be holding back even longer right now, just waiting for an opportunity actually to get the drop onto FTF. In the meantime, Farm Farmers already made their way to this side of Los Leones. With the blue zone already engulfing most of the city here, is pretty much everyone left on the outskirts here to fend for themselves and pick up whatever scraps they can. And speaking of scrapping here, is Gas Can's going to get into any scraps soon, because I do see Starlight creeping in on the territory right now. This could be grounds for a bit of an encounter. Next circle lands still close to where Gas Cans is, but it also lands quite on top of where 10X is. Could this be an opportunity for them to make up for things so far today? Battle's already heating up on the western side though, because Force Samurais already getting into the mix of things now, with them opening fire onto squads who have just wandered into the outskirts here in order to join in the firefights here. Gas Cans still very much in position where they were earlier on. Doesn't seem like Starlight is putting too much pressure onto them right now. FTF still keeping Aura at bay, but it seems like Aura is taking quite a bit of damage here, so I don't know whether they want to still continue assaulting in this direction, or maybe they have to find a different approach now. Supply crate is going to be landing close to where Starlight is, as the Starlight now is starting to put some pressure onto Gascan's complex and uses the hills for cover. Is actually making it good. I say that just as Solution PH catches a shot from Greg Shot himself, and that's making this now forcing Starlight to maneuver here. We got 9 trying to make a flank around the outside of the safe zone here in order to try to get a jump onto Gas Cans, but they got to watch out for Exo Squad, who are taking camp around the complex just to the other side of where this battle is taking place. So if 9 is not too careful, he might just wander into a field of fire that will allow EXO to actually start putting shots in. In fact, I already see that EXO is opening fire onto them, so they may have already spotted Starlight. Nevertheless, Aura now putting the throwables onto FTF. They already got a kill onto TD there, so that's already putting them in under pressure, as Samurai is assaulting them at the same time while FTF is under fire from Aura. So this is actually putting FTF in a very tough spot, because the blue zone is creeping over them and they're not able to have an exfil out of this area here. Moriyama still trying to hold his own, but he's a little bit confused there as he gets cut down by C1 Moy. So at least 4 Samurai is having their momentum somewhat stopped right now. C Moy seems to be the last member still. It's not quite a last member. He was the last member until he got taken down there. And then man being taken out means that FTF is sent back into history.
Yeah, just unfortunately not able to hold on to the fort. And it has started with, them having a decent start, but this blue zone really forced them to make their move and just not able to kind of clean up the act. Aura able to kind of anchor down solid enough. Hachi just gets a nade right in the face, and he is out of this one. 9 also dispatched. Exo Clan doing a fantastic job of holding onto this compound, completely just rock solid. And Starlight kind of falling to that. Meanwhile, oh wow, another accident just happened. Big Boy Maka just ran down his own teammate. Hopefully that doesn't translate into any elimination, but for Aurora, they are getting slowly assaulted by Pintados. That blue is not helping. The nade just bouncing off a little bit off, but Kaio is going to try to hold them back and doing a fantastic job in achieving so. Aurora is eliminated.
Yep, they're all starting to fall down, one after another. 9 teams still remaining in this fight right now, one of which is going to be Pintados, another is going to be Archangel Predators, another is PNC, who are fighting with one call here from inside their complex, and one called Jexy is still trying to find a good window to send his frag grenade through, but still has not a lot of information, I expect, on where PNC is currently camped at, rather precisely where they're camped at inside this complex here. Luke does have a Mark 12 that is using to good effect right now to keep CF suppressed on their side, and that's keeping them away from Gas Can's position. In the meantime, Pintados looks like they're going to be pulling back to regroup around the shack here in order to try to regain their firepower here, because it seemed to have lost the initiative against 4 piggies there, who are still hounding them with plenty of fire coming across the hill. But with the blue zone more favoring this safe zone here, I think Pintados is deciding to try to take position by the edge here and hopefully be able to gatekeep 4 piggies once they decide to make a move to the safe zone here. But we with CF as well, a little bit on the outside. I think they also want to try to watch out for 10X, who is still caught up in the crossroads area here, and they're hoping to at least be able to make a play for the final circle.
Absolutely. Gascan is starting to already rotate in. Might be a three-way fight though between them, EXO Clan, and 10X. Obviously, Gascans, they are the ones in the open, and wow, 10X even found for Piggy's Gops catching a straight one. And EXO in the meantime is gonna start pelting onto Town Farmers. Okay, Baby Zero, where are you going? Trying to bring his teammate to safety, but they're running right into Aspa. Flipping that bike on the way, trying to avoid that blue zone. And probably that's the best that they could do, but that puts them literally right in the open. They're gonna get picked off by multiple squads. AAP finds one, Pentados finds the other, 4 Piggies are out.
That little piggy just went to heaven. So, rest in pieces. Unfortunately for them, the rest will still trundle on. 8 teams now still remaining, and I think Pentados is going to be facing pressure for Archangel now, with Alec already moving up together with Nan, sending out some troll balls. That could be the hurtful one there with that frag grenade, but it just misses by just that little bit there. If Alec is going to be sending a second one there, I think Pentados might be rethinking about this strategy here. May want to try to find a different position, to set up camp in. Now, we do see CF also making their moves onto gas cans here, while TMX is still huddles together inside this building here, just across the street from where gas cans is. And Big Boy Maka gets caught out by Algin Boss again. The sniping coming out from Archangel Predator seems to be their main strength right now, that they're banking on to be able to carry them through this line. And Goose picks up a 5th kill there by taking down Huxi, and that's going to be the end of the Charm Farmers.
Man, Goose is doing so much for EXO, literally popping off in the final round of the day. Pentados, they're trying to get closer into AAP. Gotta start working Nan out of this open field. He is the only one exposed, and he's the one giving intel to the rest of the team. That's why PE felt so pressured. CJ up face to face with his former team. Gotta break through that defense of Nan, but their backs are also very much exposed. Tanex, Gas Cans, they're all looking at Pentados. And only one team can make it into the circle. It's either them or AAP, and Kyle decides to gotta take that fight against Tanex, who are literally gatekeeping these 2 squads right now. But AAP decided to take initiative. They want to move on forward and really snuff out Pentados so that they can move in.
That's the thing, like, they have them very much surrounded, so all it just takes for them is just get the knockdowns done onto PE. But so far, they've only been able to send throwables down their way, and that hasn't quite worked out yet. So that's forcing them to get their boots on the ground to make it work. Now, unfortunately, because we're knocked down now, Shoe Horse getting some good shots now, as well as Speedy, and TNX is now finally starting to come in their own here, putting out even better shots right now, putting out the rest of them. Gas cans now, explosions in the air, making it hard for them to even see right now as AAP regathers the strength and tries to get themselves back into the fight right now, as we see PNC getting pressured yet again by ONC, who has actually creeped up to where the building is. So Pivy might be having to watch his back right now, because in any time now, ONC is going to be knocking straight on their door.
It's going to be one of the most important fights. PNC still looking to get revenge onto ONC. EXO Clan in the meantime, they will be the next to have to make the move. Smoke is dissipating. I wonder how much utilities EXO has left. But it seems like AAP, they're moving straight into the compound where PNC and ONC are already fighting. EXO also driving in, expecting a 4-way fight, but EXO, they are going to kind of stop on the low ground, same as AAP. So we're gonna have this very interesting overview with gas cans watching this unfold from afar, but PNC gotta stop that onslaught from one call. This circle is closing in. PNC are definitely feeling the pinch.
Yeah, man, the thing is that, this next circle will definitely force PNC to come out. So their high ground advantage, if they're not able to make full use of it now, they're going to be in a massive disadvantage later when they have to make their way to the next safe zone. So the thing is that everyone else on the low ground has their sights very much pinned on the top side there, because they know not just one but two squads are currently fighting up there, and ONC is just finding themselves having to watch out for stragglers outside while they're attempting to try to make an entry inside of the building that Panic Esports is holed up in. But look at that, blue zone already creeping in here. So where this next circle is going to land here, if it lands on top of PNC, that will be great, but I don't think that's going to be the case right now. Good shot there for Empty. He should be able to get another one there on the Greg shot, but where's the follow-up going to be coming from there? Trick from one call now. He knows that PNC is just across the building here, but they haven't really found an opening. In fact, a grenade is going to be sent out there, forcing them to hold back a little bit. They're still scared. They're still afraid of actually trying to confront Panic directly here, because they're still outnumbered a little bit by just one man, but that seems to be enough here for ONC to try to be a little bit more cognizant and a little bit slower in their push through the building. Pusher Ritz still not able to make an entry there, just still keeping an eye out. Finally, he makes his way through. He's going in bravely, but takes a lot of damage there too. Already taken down there, but from PNC and ONC now down to only one last member, which is going to be Trick, but he is still not quite able to get a jump onto Cherry, who managed to peek out of the door just in time to take one out, and one call is out in 6th place.
Very well traded. PNC sacrificed Dusky, but that guy held on like a rock. So PNC is left with 3 members. They can still hold on, honestly. If you look at the circle, it actually doesn't favor the rest of the team. I'm not sure if PNC is included in that safe zone, at least for now. It seems like they are. EXO might be the next challenger, but for gas cans, you gotta start trying to get through this freeway, and that's why all the smokes are getting thrown out. They have a vehicle to work with. This should allow them to move in quicker and more conveniently. Archangel Predator now on this low ground. PNC, a majority of the building that they have, I don't think they get to stay in, as a circle it just barely cuts it off. But Waiki Kabuka has already been gunned down by Speedy. Tanex spreading far and wide. Nico's trading Speedy. Bang! Nico's finding M0 as well. This guy again, the anchor. But unfortunately this time he's gonna get shut down. Greg Shots though comes in for the cleanup, and meanwhile gets shot down by Aljin's bot, and AAP take care of PNC in the meantime. Panic Esports unfortunately getting wiped out in the progress as they want to move into the circle but not able to do so. Gas cans need to retrieve Nico at least to have a chance, because EXO Clan and AAP, they are basically still very much healthy, with EXO Clan having the full squad left alive.
Yeah, so EXO Clan, though they are a little bit on the outside of this this next circle here. So Luke 12 unfortunately catches a shot there, and is down for the count. And Nikos is a little bit low, and so is Greg Shot. They're not able to get to him in time. And Archangel Predator's Nan is keeping an eye out on the other side where EXO Clan is currently camped at. So they want to try to just spread themselves out here and start to get these eliminations done, because they seem to feel that they have initiative now, given the circumstances here. Now, Gascan is still licking the wounds right now. Well, EXO receiving some fire from that frag grenade, are forced to now regroup together, but they're using this embankment very smartly by using it not only as cover, but as a rally point, really, for them to keep themselves in place. Algin Boyds gets a little nice little shot there onto Greg Shot. Not able to knock him down completely yet, but look at EXO Squad now moving up onto Alec, getting a good throwable on him. Both him and Nana already knocked down, so AAP finding the tables turn onto them right now. Algin Boyds again solo at the moment, trying his very own to hold it, but Gascans is also moving at the same time. It is a three-way battle right now, and only AAP as a solo member here. He's going to have to hold his own against three members. Gascan shots are coming through here. He's able to get 1, 2, and it's almost getting turn one. Get on the shotgun onto the face. He does take out Gascans. Now it's going to be between him and the EXO Clan, but EXO Clan were already in place there to take him out, so they are the ones to get the chicken dinner instead.
Gascans having the round absolutely robbed by Aljin Boss, but this guy, second time, the clutch master of the team. AAP might not have gotten the chicken dinner, but they have done more than enough to cement themselves as one of the front runners. And once again, our top 3 teams, Victor, EXO Clan, AAP, and Gascans. And you cannot deny how consistent these 3 teams were on day number 2. And of course, EXO Clan getting their second chicken dinner. They started the day off with the chicken dinner. They ended it with a chicken dinner. What an ending for a team that didn't show up much yesterday. And today is a completely different beast.
Yeah, today is ExoClan's day for sure. I mean, the fact that they were able to climb all the way from quite literally the bottom rung in the ladder to now being amongst the top 3 in the competition right now, that's certainly going to count for something, right? I mean, the Challenger Rumble is still going to be continuing on throughout the next few weeks, so there's still plenty of opportunities here for ExoClan to show that they were just as capable as everyone else. Just can't really fault them too much for having a bad start to this whole competition here. But nevertheless, though, still shout out to Algenbots. I mean, again, another situation where he had the clutch and he absolutely nailed it. I mean, the fact that he had to switch to mind you, switch to like a sawn-off shotgun, which is like kind of like a desperation weapon, and still be able to finish off gas cans with it. I mean, man, the galls on this guy here. I mean, I just want to know what exactly he's been eating and training with, because you know, anyone who wants to be a pro PUBG player probably should take a few notes about the way Algenbots actually plays, because he certainly has been showing quite a masterclass in this final circle here.
Yeah, I mean, against all teams, right? Against all teams, the gas cans of all teams. This is, again, remembered the best team that we have. I mean, this is completely robbed. But I mean, AAP, they are not one of the best teams for no reason. This is exactly why. ExoClan, definitely the most improved one. If we compare performance-wise, from day one. 15th place to, I believe, they probably are in the first page. A lot of work has been done by ExoClan alone. And today, it is just so clean from these guys. They are decimating a lot of the top squads, right? They are overrunning AAP. They're getting rid of a lot of these minor mistakes they've been making yesterday. They're not getting punished, and they are just they're handling these gunfights so well. And when you look at the replays, you can really see how, you know, some of these teams are just so much more superior on day 2. Panic able to recover a bit in the last 2 rounds, albeit not the cleanest overall, but they have been able to at least get points in, you know, as compared to the first 3 rounds where they were absolutely demolished by a lot of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, again, like with the way the last 2 days kind of unfolded, kind of like hammers home the point to me, right? That sometimes you cannot really, you know, dismiss any kind of performances, and a kind of lack of performance, I should say, in the day number 1, because there's always a chance for them to make a massive comeback in day 2, as ExoClan has certainly demonstrated here. But at the same time as well, I mean, for teams like Gas Cans, for AAP, it shows that even having a good start to like the competition doesn't necessarily mean you'll stick the landing at the end. And even though Gas Cans has done well, you know, actually to kind of like maintain good consistency, and that's kind of kept them in the leader board so far, but we're starting to see all these other teams that kind of like failed to make an impact in day number 1 start to actually climb and reach the ranks here. AAP making 100 points now, even though Gas Cans has already beaten them to the punch by 14 points, but that's a lot of a narrower gap there compared to how it was yesterday. But it certainly shows that there's a very clear sort of like the top like 2, at least as far as these points go. The top 4 certainly feels a little bit untouchable, though ExoClan, you know, they are still on that like borderline there when it comes to the top 4. But certainly with the performance they've done today, I hope that confidence will be able to build up over the course of the Challenger Rumble here, and hopefully they might even still have a shot at taking that slot to the Global Series.
Oh yeah, man, this is what, 15th place to 4th in just 5 rounds in just 1 day.
Yeah.
It's just incredible performance from this Oceania team. Panic Esports definitely having a rough day. Still in 5th place, not too shabby, you know, from the future. And for Samurai's kind of losing steam towards the very end. Pintado's squeezing into the 1st place as well. Again, the race to the top is actually getting a bit tighter than day 1. You know, Tanex is also not too far behind, and you can even throw Starlight into the equation. Obviously today Gascas still remains at the top, but you can see that a lot of teams are already catching up. So just in case, for those who, you know, missed out on previous rounds, just gotta let you guys know today has been an incredible day. When you look at the match recaps, you are definitely going to be very surprised in how teams, you know, ExoClan getting 2 chicken dinners, 1 match 1 on Erangel, and to close out the day on Miramar as well. Gascas also getting one of their chicken dinners, and of course Archangel Predator coming in clutch with their chicken dinners as well. Overall, week number 1 of Challenger Rumble has been intense, but you know, for all the fans, PUBG fans out there, we still have 1 more weekend to go before we find out which team will walk away with the most prize, with the most PGC points, and with the slot to PGS Phase 1. And that is going to continue next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, same time, 1:30 p.m. GMT +8. We're going to run it back with the map rotation, and after 10 matches, we will find out who is the main champions. But for now, I mean, we are gonna take the rest of the Sunday off. It has been amazing having you around, Victor. It's always great working together. But we're gonna sign off as your casters for the weekend. Have a great Sunday and come back next weekend for more PUBG Challenger Rumble action. My name is Husky. Here's Victor. Bid you guys goodbye and have a great Sunday.